Hello, I'm Eagle Gardens 1 on Instagram, and this is fucking Talking Shit with Eagle, episode 337. What the fuck? What's in the wormhole? Smiley's Gardens falling in as well. Oh shit. I'm gonna need a hearing aid and to shut my ass up and to say hello and chat.
What's up, man?
What's up, Smiley?
Bit. Just munching on stuff, throwing it in a live right away.
Right on. It's antsy. Been a little antsy to get on tonight.
Yeah?
Been a couple of, fucking, I miss it when I'm not on. Sometimes I just don't want to go on by myself, I guess. Fucking, I got lucky as fuck. Well, I don't, before we go there, I might as well throw out the corniness right quick. I forgot how big of a fucking man crush I had on fucking Fergie. Fucking YouTube was fucking going nuts on my fucking playlist tonight. Fucking started throwing up some Fergie. I actually sat down, smoked a joint, and I was like, man, I dig Fergie still.
What up?
She was hot. What's
How
up, Cannon Trooper?
How you guys doing?
Pretty good.
Good, man. Fucking just getting home from work. How about you?
We were just harvesting and we finished up for the night a little bit earlier than we kind of thought we would, so we're just kind of chilling for a moment.
It's always good. Get it done quicker.
Yeah, definitely gives them some more time to free up for family life. I think he's hopping on here in a second. Should see some of the shit that got chopped down tonight. Like,
I seen a
way
picture
bigger than my hand.
Fucking badass.
Yeah, you saw some of that in the chat. Smiley. Those nugs are massive. Some of them are bigger than my calf.
Damn.
Like, no bullshit. I have one like hanging next to my leg, and I'm like flexing my calf, and it's still like the size of my calf. I was like, what the fuck?
Now, is that just different genetics, or is that same genetics? He's doing some magic.
That's new genetics, and that's pushing the EC underneath the what's it called, the spectrum recipes.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, so that's what he was doing. He was pushing the EC really hard with them, and dude, these things there's some donks, bro. There's like a field of fucking donks in there.
Yeah. Oh, they do look nice. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Let's say we got like 15 watching, and there's already the thumbs down. Fuck.
There's a thumbs down.
Yeah. That's some funny shit.
Can't please everybody. They just mad I showed up, I guess.
Yeah,
that's the way I always see it.
In like a minute. Give us a minute, bro. Just give us a minute.
I know.
So you got somebody already throwing thumbs down? That's sad.
It's funny, I think. I laughed about it.
What's up, guys?
How you doing, bro?
Good. About to take a dab here.
Cannon was over there bragging about how big your donks are.
Whoa.
Sounded a little wrong.
Yeah, take it easy. No, it's this new genetic I'm running, bro. I was really blown away by it. It's called Mel's Punch. It's a cross of Ninja Fruit with Primal Punch. So it's got like some like really good grapefruit notes. It smells like almost like if you were to just have like a grapefruit Gorilla Glue, and
that sounds dope.
But it's pretty good, man. I just want to see how it dries off, if it gets airy or if it hardens off, because it always looks good when it's like fresh, right? But then when it dries, you're like, no.
Yeah, they do shrink quite a bit. What's up, Bingus?
Yes.
Cheers, everybody. How are you?
Man.
Cheers.
We were just talking about Sergeant's donk.
Right on, Sarge. How are you?
I'm good. How you doing, Vegas?
Good, man. Sergeant Peppa. I like that icon, dude. That's cool.
He's double decker over there. Look at that shit.
So, I had a nice fucking lucky spell, I guess you could call it, yesterday. I didn't see coming, really. I wasn't second guessing it by any matter, man. The last few days have been fucking kind of a crazy roller coaster, to say the least. But I go take a trip around the lake yesterday, take care of a few things, talk to some people about some fucking shirts, some the actually cat was fucking stoked about. He had a new way of printing, like the polyester kind of shirts, the way they're like painted in or inked in, not necessarily, but he was definitely had some good ideas about some shirts. And so I was pretty stoked about that. I had to stop at Home Depot. I picked up that insulation machine, stopped at my local grocery store, picked up a few bags of some fucking cocoa and some other shit, and then leave the grocery store and fire one up. Not nothing new out of the routine. It's getting close to dark. I fucking flying down this road. I happen to look up and sure shitting sheriff passes. Yeah. I'm only a 5 over, which I don't necessarily think is a problem. But I slow down nonetheless, and I see him. I see the brake lights fucking light up as soon as he passes by, and I'm like, shit. Shit. So I, of course, watch the side mirror. And so, yep, he flips around. I'm like, fuck. Fuck. So I flip my joint out the fucking window and let the window roll down for a minute and fucking roll it back up and kind of fling what was available onto the floor and behind the seat. And he comes up to the vehicle. And I'm not in a vehicle that I usually drive. Keep this in mind. Comes up to the car. He says, you gotta, he says headlight at first, but then he says taillight out. You got taillight out? I'm like, oh, shit. That's right. He's like, you got your paperwork? And I'm like, yeah. And I know for a fact that I have this like super like 30-year-old trouble. Tried to take care of it several times. Anywho, takes my paperwork. He takes my driver's license, and I go to look for my paperwork, which I always bitch about. Always keep that shit above the visor. Keep it above the visor. Keep it fast and handy. You want to bow, get the fuck away from my car. Bow, get the fuck away from my car. Bow, get the fuck away from my car. That's what I preach. It wasn't there. Motherfucker. So I go fucking, of course, going through the glove box. Go through a fucking council. I'm just dumping shit out. He says, you grow? Yes, sir. Is there weed in the vehicle? Got a bag in my pocket. There's 2 garbage bags in the back seat. Is that weed? Ha! No fucking sir. No weed there. All right. Fucking takes my shit. Just my driver's license, because I still haven't produced license and registration. He runs back to the car for a minute, comes back, and fucking says, your driver's license is expired?
Oh, shit. Oh, shit.
I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, it's expired. I'm like, man, I just had a birthday. I didn't even fucking realize. He's like, it's been almost a month. I'm like, yeah, I didn't realize. I'm sorry, man. I didn't realize. He fucking hands me that driver's license. Get that taken care of. Get that fucking tail light taken care of. Have a good night.
That's fucking awesome. That's fucking awesome right there.
I was like, holy shit.
Yeah, well, keep that angel on your shoulder there, buddy. That's good. Good one.
I don't know how I got so lucky. I even told him he never even asked for a license or nothing. Just you know what I mean, like a medical license or anything.
You probably smokes weed.
Yeah.
You're over
Didn't
21,
say shit.
so you're allowed up to a certain amount there. So
Probably
Yeah, true that.
You probably said Eagle? Eagle One on Instagram? Fuck yeah, dude. You're good.
watch a name appear in chat now that's like your favorite police officers.
Good one, Smiley. Yeah. I've been following you ever since you got started.
Be pretty fun.
At least you can do is kick me a nug. Fuck.
I pulled you over just to get your autograph, man. Big fan.
Yeah, that's funny. Can of Troopers here. We got Red Pill and Sergeant Pepper with Smiley's Garden on top. Eagle, you're going to be with Jodry on a big live stream. That's awesome, dude. Good job.
Yeah. I finally gave in. Decided to go. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a fun one. Some amazing guys over there. It's going to be a good night. Kevin Jodry on top of it. That's all I got to do. The way I see it, pretty much all I got to do is just be a box. Jodry's on the panel. All I got to do is be a box. This is going to be a cakewalk.
Yeah, I knew it had to end pretty good, Eagle, considering you're sitting there talking to us right now. I was like, yeah. So that's awesome, though, dude. Congratulations. Yo, by the way, hello, Smiley, Bingus, Sergeant Pepper, Cannon Trooper, Red Pill.
Yep.
What's up, everyone in chat? Hey, Sergeant, I saw you. You were on the live today on IG. Got some monsters, bro. Monster colas in that grow.
Nice.
I mean, dude, not gonna lie, I feel really blessed right now with those genetics, man. I couldn't believe it. I think those are like literally the biggest fucking colas I've ever grown, bro.
Bro, I gotta
That's
hand
what's
it
up.
to you, dude. Yeah, man.
Well done. Well done.
Yeah, I feel blessed on that. I wasn't expecting that. You know, I knew they were gonna stack because, like, you know, when you see a plant stack up in veg, you're like, oh, okay, we got some good flower sites here. This is looking good, promising. And then it just like blew up out of nowhere.
Yeah, dude, the stacking
throwing
down
on
the
weight.
stock was amazing there.
Was that all the same strain? What strain is that shit?
This shit's it's Mel's Punch. So what it is, it's ninja fruit crossed with Primal Punch.
Okay.
Who did
Yeah,
that?
man.
It's actually a BG WG 420. He's the one who blessed me with that cut.
My buddy's
Something
surrounded
he
by.
breeded.
He's
Definitely
growing a ninja fruit sapphire mango cross.
That one definitely is working well there, Sarge.
Fuck yeah, we're keeping that one around for a while.
Especially, man, if it's got some kind of punch to it, you know what I mean? So,
Yeah, well, I ran everything a little bit longer across the board. I ended up going 72 days, and I probably went a little bit longer than I should on a couple of them, but it was so close to so many that I was just like, you know what, fuck it, we're gonna meet halfway with everybody right here, and it is what it is.
shit, the pictures I saw didn't look like you went too deep into harvest at all. I mean, they get
Yeah, I
that.
felt like
You can almost see it when they go. Like it's like a amber haze almost to them. You can kind of see it. Like, everybody talks about getting microscopes out, which is fine. You do see it better that way, but I think you can tell just by your naked eye, like clear to cloudy to amber. You can kind of pick it up.
I agree with you, especially like some cultivars, the trichome heads are larger than others, and you can see it. Like it may not be like spot on perfect, but like it's close enough where you can be like, "Yo, this is kind of cloudy," and then you go get your jeweler's loop or whatever, and then you double check, and you're like, "I knew it." You know, you probably can't do that with every cultivar, but and then not only that, the more you run something, the more like you already know what it's supposed to look like, right?
Yeah, no doubt. But I think everybody, if you've ran one cycle, I think everybody's experienced that where the trichomes go from from clear to cloudy, because that's usually right when you notice it and it looks like it's all snow covered, right? Like all of a sudden it's like there's that one or 2 days where you just fucking come in there and it's like, holy fuck, man, they're frostier than shit, you know? And it looks that because it's just they changed to that cloudy color or whatever.
Yeah, the mimosa's like that, like crazy right now, man. That thing's just like cloudy central, nice and perked out too.
Eagle, you look like you got sunburnt or something, where you got
raccoon. Yeah, he's
where you
wearing
had
sunglasses.
Raccoon eyes. That's what.
Yeah.
It's just the eyes. It's just the
Because
light. I don't know where it's coming from. Oh, right here. But yeah, it's coming from above.
I don't know, but the way you were sitting, it looked like you were at a baseball game all day or some shit.
Fuck, it could be possible though, because man, every last few days I've been out fucking side. I've been that asshole in shorts already. Fucking at the Walmart and shit. Fucking, what's up? Yeah, fucking 30 degrees, sunny out. You know, all day yesterday, all day today.
I don't think that's an
So
ass.
it could
I
be.
think it's just like, you know.
I've been keeping my eye on the weather, Smiley.
Yeah, it was warm. We had some warm spell, which is kind of a funny, not a funny story, but a different story. But trying to get to my location, it's kind of set back, and there's probably like, I don't know, 30 yards of grass that I got to drive through. Well, it's all clay. So like the other day it warmed up to like 40 some degrees when all the snow was just melting like a son of a bitch. I went to go through there, dude. I mean, it was deep. I was spinning tires and then like it froze the next day. So like the next day when I came back to
big ruts in there.
it was when I was leaving that it was really bad. I mean, I was going fishtailing and everything in the mud trying to get through it, you know, traction control off, all that shit. And fucking I come back the next day after it froze, dude. There were trenches through this fucking yard, just trenches. I bet it was the width of the sidewall of the tire. I bet how deep that was to the rim. I was like, holy shit.
Yeah, it's still getting pretty cold.
You guys are getting cold?
1921, 1932.
Are those ages in the chat?
Yeah, we got above
Just sent
freezing
some
at
out,
least.
Bingus. I don't
Yeah.
know. Sorry.
No, I was just saying we got above freezing. Yeah, I took my bike out today for dust off the cobwebs and.
So it's really turning into a bonsai for you.
Yeah, everybody's getting spring fever now, man. The fucking sun's out. It's warming up to above freezing, and it's fucking awesome.
56 next week. 56 next week. I've never even seen the ground this early since I moved up here. Seriously, I've never seen fucking dirt this early yet. I'm stoked.
Were we supposed to have a real bad winter because of that solar minimum or some shit? Wasn't that supposed to fuck up the winter too, though?
The way they fuck with the weather,
so,
man.
What are you doing over there? He's doing the lighting, the disco lighting. will admit that when I got my lighting, I did sit there and fucking go blue to red, blue to red, blue to red. Everybody that came over, I was like, look what I can do with my lights. And it's right on my phone and shit. So it's like, that's like the neatest thing about buying them lights. You can fucking play with it from your phone. Did you see them changing, Bingus? The colors? You know what I'm talking about?
It's cool.
Yeah.
I'm just worried. I want to get that. I'm sitting here trying to figure a way to warm up the weather, but I'm not.
Don't worry, Bingus.
I am worried, dude, because I don't want to. The one I want to send is turning bigger and bigger in the day. You know? Like trimming them up, you know, like, come on, you know, don't get excited. You know you want to leave. I know you want to go.
I was gonna say, if I have faith in you, Bingus, if a fucking groundhog can do it, I think you can.
Very good one. Yeah, like I said, it'll be a nice bonsai. Okay. The longer.
Canada.
What's that?
Sorry, I was just checking out Canada Trooper. He's holding up a nug.
Nice.
It looked pretty good. Well, he's got shit drying there apparently.
Yeah. Do they go all the way red?
Yeah, but dude, that is tripping out.
Sergeant or Cannon that's doing the lights?
Canada Trooper. I'm tripping out.
Yeah, they do the red. So those are those the new Cushes?
No, these are the Cush Classics. It still has the 660 and the 730 on the same channel. But they look cool, right?
But you can program that, right, Sergeant, so that it'll automatically kick on and it just automatically will switch. And
yeah, you can actually set up a recipe to do that. To do it, and as far as like if you want to do like a sunrise, sunset. I just remember Smiley, you saying like, "Hey, Sarge, you got to do like the disco lights one of these days." And I said, "All right, well, I finally don't got plants in there, and I can actually do it because I got somebody else holding the camera."
Dude, I was like,
"That's dope as fuck, man."
I was like, "Canada Trooper sounds exactly like Sergeant Pepper, man. What am I tripping?" Because I had
so funny.
I had him on, you know, I had him pinned on my screen here, and then I was like, "Wow." Yeah, I'm fucking totally stoned right now.
But so that's the power of that, man. Like you can rig up other lights too. Fucking, I gotta get on that. I'm gonna do the red. I'm jealous now. I gotta have a red room. It looks cool. I don't know if it works or not.
It was so funny. The other day was it Miami Mango was out visiting Nelson Poetry of Plants. And, you know, he just has a whole new alpha room. Like a whole room he just converted all Dragon Alphas. It's pretty sick. He calls it the pirate ship. But Mango goes in there and he's like, "Oh, he's got these sync LEDs." And I was like, "Sync LEDs, huh?" And he's like, "Yeah, our Synchro LEDs also do this and also have spectrum tuning." And I'm like, "Bro, just because you're 730, you can turn it on, doesn't mean it's spectrum tuning. It just means you can turn on the 730 on another channel."
Technically is.
What's that?
Technically is, because he's tuning, he's adding, spectrum adding. Is that what you're gonna?
I mean, that's supplemental. I mean, I could definitely debate that all day because you could supplement something. Because think about it. Would you consider tuning just adding a puck to a light? I would consider that adding like an exhaust to a car. I wouldn't consider that something that was actually like a performance part. I would consider that like an add-on, you know, or something came from the factory like that and was actually designed to tune. That's a different story. When you have something on a different channel and you actually can't blend it and create a whole different spectrum, that's not spectrum tuning. That's controlling a channel. You know what I mean? Because like, shit, anybody can do that. Even Chilled LED now's got their new little add-ons where they can control their channels, but nobody can actually sit there and can blend their warm whites and their cool blues like we can. I just like that you can make any color you want, but make sure it's not the color of the sun because it might start looking like outdoor.
Okay.
Hannah Trooper, I like your setup, dude.
That's not mine. It's Sgt. Pepper's.
Yeah, they're partners down in North Carolina.
Very nice.
I'm fucking wrong.
Very nice.
Crickets.
I just thought everybody would laugh when I said that. Throwing
Did you guys?
blood with LED, like, I don't know. Never mind. I should probably change the subject. Anyways.
Who else got Chili Bean going?
I'm just fucking totally.
Eagles thing. Shout it out. Who's got seeds from the grow along?
Oh, yeah, I got the Agent Orange.
Yeah, Agent Orange.
I got the plant, not any seeds anymore, just one female and cuts of it too.
I got 2 of the Jelly Bean, and I just sent I got 3 of the Jelly Bean that are girls for sure, and then I just sent 2 of them to Dirt Road Dude. So he didn't have any that survived or whatever survived were males or something. I forget, but
Oh, that's awesome. Good work.
yeah. I haven't picked either, so I don't know which pheno is the one. So he'll have the fun of like choosing 2 or whatever if it all works out. Knock on wood.
Smiley's gonna be pissed. He's gonna get the big one, the fucking crazy one. No, I'm joking.
No, we'll both have them. Like I have them numbered.
Okay, there you go.
4 or whatever. So I sent him number 1 and 2, which I knew were girls. And so he'll. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't picked, so he'll be able to. I just moved
Cool.
the flower yesterday, actually. So. Jillies. I'm excited, man. Been hearing some good things about it. I had Jelly Bean way back in the day, but it wasn't anything impressive. So.
Oh yeah, they were talking about it today on Nudie's Hydro Hustlers.
Yeah. She won an award with it, man.
They have it.
She won like a homegrowers competition or some shit with it.
Maybe you could ask her to teach you some tricks there, Smiley.
I definitely could. She could definitely teach me a lot of tricks, man. Nudie's the shit. She knows her shit too.
Yeah, she's definitely into it big time. She loves them plants.
Well, that's her career, so you know.
Wow, there's few and far between that love their career, boss. Thank God.
Right.
I don't have one.
But no doubt, man, I got a lot of respect for her.
Yeah, oh yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, is it tangy? What do you... Nudie was describing, like, I thought, or somebody was saying they had the pink lemonade kind of thing going on with it. But...
What does it taste like, Eagle? Eagle should know.
Yeah, come on, Eagle.
Rock candy.
Jelly bean.
The one I want, the orange kind of rock candy, orange mango rock candy. That's the one I'm kind of looking for.
I've had Jelly Bean about 3 times. One of them was like a pure grapefruit, where it even had like the taste of like grapefruit juice after you take a sip. And then there's one that's more of like a just orange creamsicle candy. And then there's another one that's just like orange skunk. It's skunky, but has an orange overtone to it. So
I'll take all of them, please. Thank you.
yeah.
What was the winning Pinot, Eagle? What was the one that won the cups and shit?
Well,
The orange mango rock candy. Kind of, it's more like a Jolly Ranchers kind of a smell. We got orange mango Jolly Rancher smell. That's
the
that's
grapefruit one I was
everybody will love.
referring to won a concentrate cup. It was either 2014 Denver High Times or some other Colorado Cup, but it won second place best concentrates at a dispensary called the Health Center. They kept that cut around for a while.
Man, I am fucking sore as fuck from crawling around in the attic today. I fucking sprayed an extra fucking 8 inches over the whole house, the fucking garage and shit today. Woo!
That's
Not
a
fun.
shit job too, man. You're up in that crawl space, fucking blasting.
Oh man, it was not fun. It was not fucking fun at all. I'm glad that shit's done and over with.
Now, is that going to help you for summer? Is that what you're doing now? Is it?
No, it was actually it's been sitting a fucking around, to be honest with you, taking up way too much room around here. I bought it months ago, and because of the fucking COVID, I couldn't get the machine. The fucking Home Depot where I bought it from, it was like a week later, man. Took it home. I'm like, I'm gonna go do it. I had a few things to do. I wanted to pick up the insulation when I had the extra cash, and fucking I was like, I'll do it next week. And then I went to fucking do it, and they're like, yeah, close, COVID, no rentals. I'm like, motherfucker, how's that work? You guys should have told me that shit before I fucking bought all this fucking insulation, but whatever. But yeah, finally got around to it. It's taking up way too much fucking space.
It feels good to check that off the list, I bet. Like, boom, done. That always feels good too.
Oh, it felt amazing to get it off the list. Even though I couldn't walk when I got out of that fucking attic, I still felt super good. I was like, man, fuck yeah, I had 45 of those fucking bundles. You know the bundles that you see at Home Depot, the fucking blown insulation fucking squares? 45 of those fuckers just sitting around, nice stack. Just, someday.
I'll take up a 2-stall garage, wouldn't it? Most of it.
Took up a nice hunk, yeah. I was doing the Step Brothers thing out there today, man. Look at what I can do all this space out here. I can fucking work out. I can fucking build something. Totally good day. Totally good day.
Metacopper, come on up, man. Come on up and share your thoughts and ideas with us.
Yeah, I'm totally stoned. That's why I'm so not saying so much. Fucking, I didn't make cookies, but I chipped off a piece of the oil and just ate it straight up.
I was going to mention something about the mixed spectrum. It's not with LEDs, even though I did have 2 LED strips in it. But I took a T5 setup, Sunblaze T5, set up the 8 bulb one, a 2 foot by 2 foot. And I used the Power Veg from, I forget who makes Power Veg. Portalux. Yeah, they have 2 different red spectrums, 2 different blue spectrums, and a UV. So 6 bulbs in total. And I used all of them. I had 2 UVs, one of the, I think it's like a 670 red and like a 630 red. Both of those. And I think it's like a 490 blue and like a 420 blue. Both of those. And then I had 55K white LED strips in there. And when you look at that light bottom up, you see all the different colors. Looks like an American flag, right? But if you look at it top down, it's just a homogeneous white, almost like violet or purple tinted light. It's on my Instagram. It's in veg, yeah. And I'm only using it for veg. And flower, I like CMH.
Oh, but yeah, the UV, you should save that for the flowers, dude.
Well,
No, the whole way through. The whole way through because
the whole way through works too. Yeah.
Because the seedlings were getting the UV plus the bulb that I used for 315 was the 3K plus UV.
Oh yeah, that has a bunch of UV in it anyway. Yeah.
And I even did a study where I don't know if things changed because, you know, you do one test and batches of lights or different formulations of lights change over the time, and probably every single manufacturing batch. But I watched someone do it. Yeah, exactly. And every bulb itself. I watched someone do a side-by-side, I think, with 8 different CMH bulbs. And I think the brand Yushiu or something like that, Yushiu, they had the highest UV.
Ed Rosenthal was preaching that brand of bulb back in the day.
Okay. Yep, that's the one that had the highest UV spike. So I did that, plus, like I said, that T5 setup that where I had both reds, both blues, a UV, and a white LED, 55K.
Man, I think CMH throws a really nice, the plants grow so nice under it. It's a beautiful spectrum. I don't know. I think where it lacks is trying to throw the power to actually build a big enough yield. But it's like they grow beautiful under it for sure. I love it for a bed.
Put more in the space. Bam.
Well, I noticed that growing from a 1,000-watt HPS, that even if you don't manage your canopy to an extreme amount, you're going to get really big nugs or heavy buds, or, you know, buds that you have to stake up or support somewhere or another, versus the 315 where you had to utilize every bit of canopy space to get the same yield out of it. But it was just as good or better resin, or, you know.
Yeah,
oil.
are you comparing a 315 to a 1,000-watt, or?
Yes.
Yeah, if you put 3 315s in there, it still wouldn't be 1,000 watts, and
Right.
it would be a lot better. That's my point. Yeah.
Well, this was a 4x4 with a 1,000-watt and a 3x3 with a 315. Right.
Okay.
Even in the 4x4,
right.
Usually I would have 4 or 5 gallon pots in there, and I would top the plants twice to make them have 4 colas each, and then just bamboo stake them. Right. And I did other plants where I did one single plant underneath the HPS with maybe a tomato cage plus stakes in there. And the exact, you know, the weight was the exact same.
You could have put 2 300, a 3x3. What do they have fit in there? 2 of them?
No, not in this 3x3. And plus I already had heat problems as it was where this tent was at. So,
okay. But yeah, you can't really, because.
Yeah, you got to stack them pretty deep to get.
I would put 2 315s, even though you could just put a 630 in there. I would put the 2 315s in a 5x5 if they were the horizontal fixtures, because also the one that I was using was the 315, the Sun Systems. That's a vertical fixture.
Okay, so you couldn't have it too high.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. Like if I measure I got that new sensor, so I keep fucking around with it. And then 315s are really like, yeah, I mean, it's like 450 ppfd, like depending on how close you want to get to them. So like,
so
you know
that's a limiting factor. Okay.
I think
I never had one.
You know,
but I would love. It's not like
a 315 is also more for like a 3x3 bed space, a 2x2 flower space.
Why don't they make a 600?
If you want to get a higher PPFD anyways, because
they do. They make 630s.
They make
yeah, but all a 630 really is 2 315 bulbs on a different reflector. That's like grabbing 2 600-watt HPS bulbs and putting it in a different reflector.
That's why they did make actual two bulb fixtures or hoods or whatever for CMH.
Yeah.
And I thought about grabbing those and mixing the spectrums, putting a 4K.
It still won't penetrate. It'll only be like 500. Is that what you're going to say, right, Smiley?
Well, they have a 1,000-watt fixture now that's CMH, so it has 2 500-watt bulbs was the one I saw. So they went from a 315-watt to a 500-watt, and then they stacked it in two, similar to the 630,
right.
Which it looked like. I haven't seen one firsthand. I was just looking at it in the catalog or whatever, but it looked interesting to me because now it's up to 1,000 watt. I mean, is it going to be able to throw enough power to really crank out the yield?
Yeah, just pony up the cash and get the ones that Sergeant Pepper's pitching.
Remember a while back when I brought up those dual arc ones, the metal
Yeah.
halide plus HPS?
Those, I
So-
want to get that bulb, man. I really do.
What I've been waiting for, and I got this idea from totally unrelated to cannabis, but a chemistry channel on YouTube that I follow, was experimenting making different plasma concoctions or arcs, literally like making different salts and then putting them in like a microwave and turning it on, and then it would, above the salts there would be like a orb. But it would be a literal light in a different, and depending on the mixture of salts that he made, anything from like mercury salts or like zinc salts, or it would change the spectrum completely, where it would be like a cyan blue color light, or it'd be a violet purple or a red light.
Wow, that's really cool.
Crystals. Oh yeah. So I thought that it would be really cool now, and I haven't seen anyone ever do it, but make some kind of proprietary, it would look blurple, like basically a dual arc plasma bulb, like how the dual arc HPS MH bulbs are, but have one, more focused on the far red, like red to our eyes, and then have the other arc be like a mixed blue, like a pretty medium blue.
Fucking get on it. You can do anything you put your mind to, kid. Have the utmost
I
confidence.
just laid it out there, so someone's either going to take the idea, or I'll eventually get to it with whatever abilities I have at my disposal. But I just saw that video of this guy making these different plasma arcs, or fooling around with different spectrums of plasma, and he wasn't considering at all. He was just looking at it from a chemistry standpoint. And then I didn't even message him or put in the comments or anything like he ever gave any thought to re-engineering plasma bulbs to make better horticultural spectrums, because everyone thinks of always going for whatever that is, the 630 yellow light, that classic HPS 3K light.
Well, someone already did try to actually make a plasma fixture actually for horticulture, and that was Gavita. Gavita did that before 315 CMH, LEC, whatever you want to call it, technology came out. And 315 CMH was actually the rebuttal to it. The company that did that was actually Philips. Philips was the OG actually in the game when it comes to CMHs, OECs, whatever you want to call the fixture. But it was a fraction of the price. Plasma wasn't putting out nearly the PPFD that was suitable for veg, but it was positioned like it was the next best thing to slice bread. And the thing about it is, when you're dropping $800 to $1,000 with an HPS grower and the light's not producing, they're not going to be real happy. And that's why Gavita was very quick to dump that, especially when Philips pretty much shit on that light. No disrespect. Philips came out with a great bulb, and I still think they make an awesome bulb.
What about that deep red that Medicropper was talking about the other day, Sarge? Did you catch that episode or not?
Yeah, I don't know if you guys caught my my sarcastic joke earlier about LED grow lights that are so good at producing the sunlight that it's like producing outdoor bud. I thought that was an interesting perspective. I think what he saw was someone that probably was new to LED, that didn't know how to run the proper EC levels, because the most common mistake that HPS growers that come from HPS to LED do is they run a low EC. They'll run ECs that are like 1.5, 1.7, 2.0 is like, oh no, that's too much. Where I'm running 2.5, 2.7 in veg alone. This last round in flower, I pushed it up to about 3.0 almost. I pushed it to. It was like 2.9, 3.0, toggling back and forth. And I thought about it twice, but I also cut out about 4 bottles out of my recipe. So what I did was I just bumped up my base, and I don't regret it. I was actually really happy to chuck out a few bottles. I think it's always nice when you find out you cut something out, and then you keep going and you don't see a difference. You're like, sweet, we don't need that shit anymore.
Nice looking bud, Bingus. It's fucking beautiful.
Well, you know, when it comes to the spectrum thing and what you're going to get from outdoor and what I haven't seen achievable yet from any kind of light emitting object is 100 or 99 at least percent or CRI. And the reason why I don't think you're ever going to see it in people that consider the horticulture side of things is we all you know think that the green light is like a night light or plants a spectrum that plants don't recognize, and the highest spike on sunlight is green light, right? So 100% CRI light in the tropics at noon, your peak there is in the green spectrum, and no one makes lights that have peaks in the green spectrum. You know, it's either orange yellow spike, highest spike, or the next highest spike somewhere in the blues, and you see a valley when you look at a spectrum chart right in green. So
I don't know. I like the idea that the light source is a communication source to the plant. That Kevin Jodry kind of talks about that, where like different elevations, even in outdoor, are receiving different light communications from the sun based on where they're at and whatever. And like indoor, we're communicating a certain thing to the plants through the light source that we. So that's why the plants will respond different, right? Like you'll see different growth patterns under different lights too. And it's,
I read somewhere.
Communication. It's a different input, basically, right? Like,
I read somewhere where Samsung, within the next 5 years, is going to have a diode that should come pretty close to the actual light of the sun. And I mean, I'm just like, wow, okay. But then again, the actual light of the sun, I think, as Red was just indicating, I mean, depends on where you are on the earth.
mm-hmm.
You know,
it changes throughout the day.
That's absolutely right. Yeah, I was just about to say it. It also depends on what time of the day.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Year too.
Now, I think historically cannabis grows best in the equator
Elevation.
Well,
It's
I think
it's two
Elevation
ends.
makes a world of difference because of the UV.
Well, there's two ends of it, right? There's where's the best place to grow it in the tropics and where's the best place to grow it in temperate zones, right? And in temperate zones, it does better in elevation because you're making up for latitude and elevation. You're getting closer to the sun, more UV light, just the same as way those tropical plants, they're getting bathed in UV light year round. So the higher elevation you have in temperate zones, the more closer to that part of the spectrum you're getting, because the denser part of the atmosphere is what's scattering UV light. So the higher in altitude you get, the less scattering of UV light. It's more like a laser beam other than like a flashlight effect.
the best grow I've ever had was in a greenhouse with 100-degree temperatures and 60% humidity. I mean, it was just a massive jungle atmosphere. You couldn't walk in there without just sweating your ass off. And those plants were just Jurassic, unbelievable. So, I mean, to me, jungle, equator, yeah.
Well, and if we wanted to set it up and have like one whole thought equation taken out of the whole process for us, if we all did live on the tropics, pretty much we would only have to dedicate a genetic library and clones and mothers, and then just veg a plant for a couple of weeks and throw it right outside. And year round, it'll flower.
Yeah.
Yep. I would bet money Hawaii would produce the best marijuana in the world.
Oh, I would love to live in
A lot of islands and Pacific Islands, Indian Ocean Islands. There's plenty of places. Canary Islands.
Who wants to make a bet? Fund my attempt to make the best weed on Hawaii.
Okay, I'll take a bet because I have a bet on the Canary Islands.
And fund me though. You got to fund me to grow.
I'll give you 10 million imaginary crypto.
There you go.
$1 billion.
Come on down. Bend right over.
Yo, is there mountains in the Canary Islands?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I don't know the exact elevation and
I know Hawaii's got some pretty high, really
yeah.
high spots.
You know, but then if we wanted it, you know, you could probably grow really good weed in Cuba too. If you can grow really good.
Go really good
What
anywhere.
what
out
island?
there.
The Big Island in Hawaii, or
But,
what island are you
yes.
talking about? So, I mean, you got to be.
I don't know.
There.
One of them, I'll figure it out if I
Maybe
had to.
one
Somebody's
of
gonna.
them. Is it Maui or what?
Give
What are
me
we
give me
talking?
a chance to figure it out.
Hawaii, isn't that another one? That's another one, right?
Hawaii, Honolulu, Kona.
There's
No,
the Big Island. then there's-
Oahu.
Big Island is the least
Oh,
popular, so that's probably where you want to go. My ex remodeling partner, I helped him build a house on the Big Island. We also did some remodeling work in Oahu. I mean,
did you smoke weed while you were there, Bingus?
oh, fuck, constantly. I had big Samoan guys take me into the bathroom, which was a very scary moment.
They
Tried
took
to
you in the
sell-
bathroom?
Well, they tried to sell me seaweed, and of
Oh.
course, I know what pot looks like.
Yeah.
They still wanted me to pay for it, and so I had to kind of back out of that situation. But other than that, that was on. Fuck, I'm trying to think of. Anyway, it was the tough side of Oahu, where the big waves roll in and they do all the surfing. But you know, I think Kauai is my favorite island.
Well,
I like Hawaii myself.
okay, so to the argument you guys are presenting, though, I mean, that environment may grow a really large plant, right? And it may be a really beautiful plant, but is in the end result, is a beautiful plant the really goal at the end? Do you want it to be a really pretty flower, or because there's the argument that like the whole idea of like
That's weed I smoked in my life came from
stuff.
Hawaii. That's what I'm basing it on.
But the idea of like hash being really in the coming from, you know, like Afghanistan, Lebanon, Morocco, these different places where it's not a humid, lush environment, right? Like it's producing a different resinous type plant. So I'm just saying, you know, what end goal are you really after? Are you after producing a beautiful flower, plant material, or you want?
You know, I agree. I totally agree. But let me throw this at you, because this is something that I've experienced over the last 40 some odd years of messing around and making mistakes. In the beginning, I would grow, I didn't know what I was doing, and I gave it way too much calcium. Okay. And I got really dark leaves and small buds. But man, the buds were just extremely strong. Okay. And I've taken that same strain and I grew it right. Buds were bigger, nicer, not as strong. And then I started thinking, well, alkaloids are what make up the aspects of the marijuana medicine, and alkaline water, maybe that raises the alkaloid level in the plant to make it stronger. But in doing so, it shrinks it down because it's not an optimal nutrient intake. You see what I'm saying? Have you guys ever experienced anything like that?
Bingus, can I ask you this one question though? Calcium doesn't necessarily mean alkalinity, though.
I'm just telling you my experience. I don't know what it means. I'm thinking alkaline. Okay, because
what kind of calcium?
It was
oxygen that places.
Because it sounds like
it was pH up a calcium.
Sounds like a lot of nitrogen. If it was really dark green, and well, that could be it could do the same thing.
I was getting my pH up like at 8. Okay, when it should be at 6.5.
Yeah.
And I noticed the buds got smaller and the weed got way fucking stronger. Why is my question. Okay.
I don't know. There's a lot of ideas. I mean, just like you know, the idea of drought stressing and so there's the argument that like flushing at the end is a drought stress on the plant because.
Do you think that the alkaline water contributed to more alkalines in the cannabinoids and made it stronger? That was my deductive reasoning. You know what I mean? But I don't know the scientific. I'm not red pill.
Yeah, it's hard to say, man. I don't know.
It is hard to say because sometimes they say that if you irrigate your crop too heavily and don't let it dry back properly, like kind of like what you were getting at, Smiley, about letting it dry back a little bit more, if you heavily irrigate it, you actually can have THC numbers go down, so it won't be as potent. Or if you actually let it dry back a little bit more, sorry, just having a little bit of feedback. Sorry about that, guys. But if you let it dry back more, the numbers will actually go up more because you don't want to overfeed the plant.
Actually, what I was getting at, Sergeant, is not necessarily a dry back, but when you oversaturate or flood it, the root zone, the plant, it's just a response in the plant where it's not necessarily taking up the water. So it's like a drought stress if you're over watering, kind of.
The plants look the same way after a while. If you overflood a plant, it looks like it's dried out.
Yeah, because it's the same response.
Wilting.
In the physiology of the plant, it's the same response. That's
why. With the alkalinity, there is one test I wanted to run, and if everyone's familiar with the Plushberry and Ace of Spades, at least like the first batches that came out were made with a black cherry soda that had an expression of making pink buds, mainly from the inside out, but sometimes on the outside, like vibrant, hot pink flowers. And then those, everyone just calls them snowball flowers. Forget the Latin name for them. But they have a thing where, depending on the acidity or alkalinity of the soil, they'll either be red or blue. I forget which end of the spectrum, if it's acidity makes red or alkalinity makes blue. But I always thought of doing experiments with that. If I could have that same black cherry soda cut, doing that and growing, because I was thinking, everyone wants to adjust their pH to make sure it's at least a little bit acidic. You don't want to purposely bring it past 7 in any normal circumstance, especially like in hydro setups. You'd be in the 5s, not even in the 6s. In cocoa, you'd be in the low 6s. In soil, you'd be in the medium 6s. So I was wondering if that black cherry soda is kind of like a snowball plant, to where if you could get away with not locking the plant out or fucking it up with a little bit of alkalinity, would those, instead of pink flowers, go blue, like a baby blue?
Now I've heard that high CO2 is what makes the anthocyanins turn blue. But again, I've never tested that either.
Yep, I haven't tested that. And I truthfully, I've only ever had like Kentucky bluegrass, green blue weed. I've never had blue weed.
I've seen pictures, I've never. Yeah, but I don't run CO2 either. So
I've had gold weed. I've had red weed. I've had almost black purple weed. I had vibrant purple weed.
Yeah.
I have lavender colored purple weed.
That's
too. But I've never had pink weed. At least my fingers in my lifetime have never gotten a breakup vibrant pink weed. And same thing as with blue, like obvious blue weed that you weren't questioning if someone put fucking blue food dye or Kool-Aid in the fucking flesh.
I'm trying to remember. There is a guy that has a
grape soda,
has a blue plant, and it see, all these things we're talking about can be influenced genetically as well, but you kind of have to narrow things down, and it's it requires time and room and all that kind of stuff we've talked about. But it's interesting. Certain mistakes, like I said, I what this weed ain't gonna be very good, and I smoked it and went, fuck. Like, whoa, I wish, how can I recreate that but make them the regular? And then I don't know, so I don't prefer it to small, really strong buds. I do like to let them dry in the pot for like a few days to get that foliage to shrink back from the trichomes and then hang it in a cooler environment.
That's another thing I feel like it goes without saying, but every grower's unless in a DWC setup, it might be the exception, but everyone's intuition, if you're growing in pots, soilless medium or soil, almost everyone I know lets their plants dry out a little bit more before they harvest. And no one's like feeding 2 hours right before they cut the plants down. You know what I mean?
Easier to flush.
Yeah.
Too. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, that was it. I was saying that, you don't, I misspoke saying feed, but even watering, you don't finish the last watering 2 hours before you cut the plants down.
No. I don't know, I've been doing it that way for years.
Mm-hmm.
But
what I was going to mention is a very cool recurring dream I have once in a while, and it kind of changes location, but the majority of the time it's a plant. It's like in my mind, what I tell myself, or at least the dream memory or pre-programmed memory to the dream, leads me to believe that this is like an autoflower. But I don't think that's the case, because I think my mind is just making up this location based upon one time where I grew autoflowers in the same spot. But I have this all purpley, magenta, solid pink purple weed that it's the same recurring dream. I wake up and I'm ready to go. I'm all excited and I'm ready to go harvest this like vibrant fuchsia colored plant. And lately I've been thinking of, what's there to choose from in the gene pool that can actually make that a realistic thing. And it displays itself in a lot of different genetics. In the
yeah, I know what you're talking
one
about.
place where I've seen it most frequent was the CBD grower out in Northern California, Rango. And a lot of his plants had purple pistils. And I remember seeing it recently on someone that was on the Future Cannabis Project, was showing strains that he made, and he had like an F2 from this guy that had vibrant pink pistils. And I also seen it years before that at it was a dispensary in Colorado called River Rock, and it was when Rare Dankness was partnered up with them, and they were doing a cross. I think it was Cataract Kush pollen on like a sour tsunami. It was a tsunami strain, but that one also had, from the same breeder, those pure vibrant pink pistils.
Mike Godiva makes pink pistils outside, man. I got pictures of it.
Yeah, this was greenhouse. It was outdoor. Well, not. It was sun-grown weed
inside
in a greenhouse.
Like maybe if you had a different spectrum, it might exhibit it, but usually inside it never ever does.
Right, and that's exactly what the guy that he said he had the. I'm sorry, Vegas. I'll just get this out real fast. This guy said he had this one that turned purple or pink, the pistils, and it was an F2. He said the same exact thing. It wouldn't turn pink pistils indoors. It would only do it outdoors. So I was thinking, if I could get a strain like that, because like I said in the beginning, it displays itself in lots of genes, probably not even associated with one another. But if I could find a pink pistil variety, and if I could get that cut of black cherry soda or anything else that turned vibrant pink like that, breeding those two plants together and hopefully finding a pink pistil, pink calyx variety.
I think
called the Pink Panther, man. That's what it sounds like, Pink Panther.
There's a hemp farm I consulted with in Southern Oregon, and it has a flower. It's not pink. It's more of a chartreuse. It's more of a and I'm going to follow up on that. But I do remember seeing it more in the hemp varieties. I don't know. Again, is that now it's making me think why, right? So I'm going to follow up on that though, because purple is a big selling point, I guess you could say.
It is now. It fluctuates. I've definitely associated with people that don't want anything to do with purple, and then me myself, like I'm a concentrate guy. I just like medicating on dabs, but my favorite thing in the world is having purple weed to roll up in joints or blunts.
I mean, I like
Do
purple.
you like red pill, or you just like the nostalgia of it, or whatever?
Just the vibe I get, just the aesthetic vibe I get, nostalgia a little bit, and then just kind of like, because I said I'm a concentrate guy, I think it's like whatever. It's a way to waste anthocyanin or pigmented bud. If a bud has some kind of incredible aesthetic value, just leave it flower, you know. And then there's other plants that you can extract for flavor and concentrates and THC or CBD that don't have that much bag appeal. But plants that really do have bag appeal, and especially pigmented ones, I feel like it's just, for me, if I got lucky, did seed runs or a pheno hunt, found a plant that I really liked and was purple, it'd be dedicated to smoking this flower because that's the way I want to appreciate it.
It's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
It's not.
I've said this before.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say I've said this before about you guys were talking about acidic water, but when you're in Hickabis plants, there, if you water with a high or low pH, you can change the color of the flowers. So I've always said, why can't you do that in in flush? Why couldn't you spike it with a high pH and change the color of the flower? Versus
and my test subject plant for that would be that pink turning black cherry soda, because if you can take that plant and where it, in most people's situations across the board, pretty much wherever you grow it, it will turn pink to some factor, either inside the bud or out. If you could change that, like spectrum doing that, that would be my test subject for that. I wouldn't do that with like a ninja fruit, because ninja fruit puts on purple pistils like in week 3 and 4. It's
I wonder too if adjusting the pH would cause more of like a nutrient type lockout.
But that's why flush water you would do that with, right? Because then you're going to harvest in 1 to 2 weeks anyways. Nutrient lockout might not even be a factor, depending on if the plants are already fading and they ate all the food.
Dude, I totally remember reading an article about this shit concerning cannabis too, but I could never find it. And
so then, so I'm just curious. So then, when would you kick off that pH and not worry about it anymore, and just drift off? If you said the plant's already fading, because I just want to make sure I'm following.
Yeah, that's a really good question.
That was
so
you
let's
said 2 weeks, but then
right.
The
Okay,
pH,
so you're right. I'll clarify that. So like it's going to change between if you're growing a what was it called, flower bomb, I think, from greenhouse seeds, or like a GMO, a plant that, or I'll say pitbull. It's a lot harder strain to find nowadays, but there's a 46-day strain called pitbull. I think it's sugar plum and P95, something like that. And it's you take it down at day 46. So all I mean is the normal time that by growing this strain multiple times, it's going to be harder to do if it's your first time growing it. You don't really know that much, and the more you're familiar with it, the more you'll know when to stop feeding it. So how I would treat that is I would still approach it as a normal plant I'm growing, and not going to do this scientific process on. And I would start maybe, cutting off the NPK, adding a little bit of enzymes, and then flushing normal solutions of water, slightly pH, down. Like I said, this is in a soil, amended soil mixture, by the way, how I would be doing it most, 9 out of 10 times. And then after I'm satisfied that the plant is at least in that phase of being flushed, and like I said, already starting to fade, that's when I would induce alkaline water to it, because then even if things kind of go out of control, I wouldn't feel bad about harvesting that weed and it not flushed. You know what I mean? At least go halfway through your normal flushing process.
Well, it kind of makes sense what you're saying, because it doesn't take long to get a purple conversion. I mean, either temperature or pH seems to really make it happen. So I mean, something to try.
I would think. I would think adjusting the pH though, like so in a normal sense. Granted, I'm not a hydro salt whatever grower. This is my understanding of it though is like as your pH changes and it causes lockouts in the root zone. Those are actual salts that are forming in the root zone because of that pH.
Yeah, so that's
that
I
stuff
mean,
will come in and out of solution depending on the pH.
Salt
If
so
you're
flush the medium a little bit, so you're weighing on the safe side of that. You know what I mean? You don't have to go crazy nuts on it and get like a 0 ppm flush already, but you're
Yeah,
weighing
I'm
on the
wondering-
safe side of at least flushing the plant a little bit before you try this crazy experiment. And let's just say that you're growing 12 plants of one variety. Try it of one out of the 12. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, no doubt. I'm just throwing a different line of thinking towards it too. You know what I mean? Like where,
That's why we're here.
because your purple effect with the pH might actually be that it's locking out phosphorus, and that's a normal response to a deficiency in that. Or if you drop it too much, it might lock out just throwing a random amount, it might lock out iron or boron or something and cause a different coloration.
I think that's the case when you find plants like when I said black cherry soda, where it's getting its pigmentation later on in the flower process versus like a ninja fruit, where there's something genetic about that plant to where a week after it makes its first pistils, they're colorating and they're turning gray and gold, and then they turn in a dark purple flower. Right? I've seen that too, where plants, the pistils themselves aren't either a white or a translucent color. They're either pink or purple or gold or.
I had an opportunity. There's a company in Oregon, I forget the name of it, but they produced a strain called Sirius Black. It was just a beautiful purple plant, and I grew it out, and it tasted like, I didn't like the taste, and it didn't get me that stoned. And I'm like, fuck, right? And then I started researching that sometimes the purple weed, the anthocyanins, will reduce the THC level in the plant. I'm like, huh.
What I've had that described to me is, I don't know if this is a good analogy. This is the person I heard it from say is it's like when plants that have like buildings that have like a backup power source, or like in a submarine, they got those like red lights that come on, whatever, those emergency floodlights or whatever the hell their purpose is, right? That's what the person compared this to, is like if the light amounts go down or the temperature amounts go down, it'll induce this response where the plant turns purple because it can absorb more light at that wavelength, being purple. Versus, like I mentioned a little bit ago, with the sunlight mainly being green. This goes beyond any science that I could explain, but I think someone, more whatever experience in that would be able to say that's why actually chlorophyll is green, or at least here on Earth, chlorophyll is green, because the sunlight that it's receiving is green. So that's the first light that it refracts. And I can't, with the links that we're talking about, I can't remember. I could probably try to find it too. I want to say like some like how do plants see light or something like that, but it shows the plants reflecting green light and then to varying degrees either absorbing or reflecting either blue or red light. And then it showed that, and it's kind of going full circle with the blurple lights, is that the light that would penetrate through a leaf the most is a color that doesn't exist technically, and it's magenta. Magenta color light would penetrate or go straight through chlorophyll and go right into the cells of the leaf tissue and give, like theoretically 100% photosynthesis to those things. So plants that turn purple are just trying to do that because that's literally the best light to absorb for photosynthesis.
I see. That's interesting. I'd like to read that.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's environmental. I mean, the plants are adapting to the most efficient way to feed.
Mhm.
That's interesting. I like that. Huh.
Well,
Red,
lights also
That was
provide
awesome.
nutrients as well, so that makes sense. Because I mean, think of it this way: like what UV does, the changing in plants. Any spectrum of the change is going to affect the plant a little bit differently. Because you got to think about, look at what happens when you go to a tanning bed at a tanning salon. It changes your skin and your body adapts to it, right? The plant's going to be no different. So that totally makes sense.
And the place where I saw that was also non-cannabis related. So time and time again, I find really good things to think about, or certain things that people might have already figured out that weren't even in the world of cannabis. Right. So.
well, cannabis is so underexplored.
Mhm.
That's why they're finding out new shit, like the bacteria going into the roots, because cannabis is now being researched.
Yeah.
It's worth so much money. People are
Dude, there's money in cannabis.
and it's medical, but
now's the time, my friends, learn how to grow. I think it's going to be legal eventually worldwide, hopefully within my lifetime. And yeah, I've been doing microdosing of mushrooms, and I got to tell you guys, I'm a big fan.
yeah.
Oh yeah, but biggest.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
I'll tell you what, man, talk about clarity of thinking. And I've spent the last few days just in kind of solitude, meditating, and just bringing, you know what I noticed that it does is it takes whatever subconscious issues you have and it makes it conscious. So, and it finds a way to resolve it in the conscious. It doesn't just keep it subconscious where it just nags at you and creates little weird fucking psychological bullshit that you do throughout your life and you can't figure out why, you know. And dude, I think
It allows you to observe what you're observing and note from it.
Yeah, like a third person. Exactly. No, seriously, like you can look down at it.
Introspective.
You observe what you're observing and know from it, Ego? What were you doing before you observed from what you were observing? Were you just observing it?
Yeah, basically you're taking note of what you're taking note of. You're like watching yourself and like, why am I taking note of that?
It's like switching.
What am I taking away from this experience? Basically.
It's taking a third person view of your actual thought process.
Yes.
It's not even inside your head. Now you are a subjective observer to your own thought process outside of yourself.
Thank you. Yes, that's exactly it. And so you don't have any bias. See what I mean? If you're a third party and you're not related, you don't have any bias. You don't have any skin in the game. All right. So you can objectively come to the conclusions that are obvious.
You're crazy.
Everybody else but you.
You get all that from a microdose though?
Dude, every 3 days I've been taking not much at all, like 100 milligrams. And yeah, gives me tremendous energy. I work like a fiend in the garden. And, sit there.
I like that though. You would expect you'd have to like fry yourself to come to that fucking realization, right? No, that's you could do that in microdose.
I've done like the 0.3 grams Nature's Best Nuggets said in chat. Like I've done that amount and you feel like I've done, I started out doing more. I've gone over 3 grams before, but it's like at 0.3, you could feel it. You could, you know what I mean? Like I could feel just the start of like, you know what I mean? It was right there. So yeah, definitely.
Yeah, if you never did it before.
Below that, you know what I mean? For sure. But
if you never did 3 grams before, you wouldn't have known that feeling. So like people who've never really tripped out macrodose, I don't think they feel that. They don't even know. I don't know. I bet you it's different though, right?
Yeah, I don't know what microdosing feels because I'll tell you now, I've never done less than half an eighth, so I have no idea. Like that's interesting because that That's like kind of driving like a slow cruise control versus just hopping on the freeway, right? That's like kind of keeping it around the neighborhood and keeping it under 25 versus getting out on the highway.
Do you think some of that depends on how big you are, though? Like if I
know exactly what you're saying.
180 or whatever, 180 pounds, and somebody that's 100 pounds can't. I mean, are they going to eat less? And are they
not only, I think it has a lot to do with your liver.
It has to do with their fucking brain.
It has a lot to do with it's an individual
brain. Yeah, individual.
It's another thing too is the way
person.
Not everybody wants to.
In the same way,
I think it has to do with brain power more than your size of your body mass.
It also is, just like in cannabis's sake, when they have different secondary metabolites that are doing a whole lot of the function. From what I know is a lot of people kind of like to rush psilocybin. They want to get strains that, make fruiting bodies as quick as possible. And that's kind of like in our realm of things, that's like the 1-to-1 CBD THC varieties, whereas there's ones that if you're a little bit more patient for, that might take double or 2.5 times as long to get the same amount of weight from fruiting bodies. Those are the ones that are like crazy high amounts of psilocin and psilocybin. In this case, the ones that I have experience with are the Mazatec.
God talks back when you pray.
So then the different mushrooms you eat. So you could eat 2 grams of one mushroom and feel a certain way, and eat 2 grams.
I've had
way the fuck on the moon, and
I've had a whole eighth of a variety that I didn't know what it was, and had the chillest, most like relaxing, most giggly, happy mushroom experience. And then these Mazatec ones, I had 1.5 grams. And I had closed eye visuals, open eye visuals, auditory hallucinations, paralysis. I've convinced myself that I thought I was poisoned and died. I thought I was on a spaceship. And it took me till getting to that rollover to that period of opening my eyes and kind of snapping out of it to realizing that I was just fucking with myself. And it got to the point where I literally thought that I died, and I thought it would be irresponsible to have my friend that I was tripping with explain to my mom that I died doing mushrooms.
Red pill.
that is pretty irritating.
So
You're in heaven right now, red pill.
So
Yeah.
I got to throw this
Right now.
out there. I guess for me, like anytime I've done any hallucinogenic drug whatsoever, whether it was MDMA, ecstasy, mushrooms, acid, I always go into anytime you're experimenting, even if you hit a certain peak point where you kind of dive off the deep end, you got to always have in your back pocket that, hey, this isn't real. This isn't real. I always have that as my emergency parachute. I know everybody functions differently, but I've sat there and had 5 grams of mushrooms in my head and had watched my friend's face melt right in front of me to the point where I saw a skeleton in the skull and just teeth talking to me. And he has really nasty teeth, so it didn't look very good. But I was strong enough to look at it. And because he used to do all kinds of meth and shit. So his teeth were all gray and fucked up. And he was a good friend, man. I'm not trying to be mean. I'm just telling you, when you were tripping balls and you see this dude with gray teeth talking to you, just I just looked at him and he looked at me and he was like, yo, you all right, man? And I said, I'm not cool. I know that you're just talking to me right now, but you would trip out if you saw what I saw. He's like, what do you see, bro? And I told him what I just told you guys. He's like, but you're not tripping out. I said, no, because this isn't fucking real. This is your mind playing tricks on you. Because if we didn't eat this, I wouldn't be seeing this right now.
How long do you think that experience that I said took? In my mind, it was like a 2-hour long ordeal, right? No, I looked at the time on my phone before I felt that way. It was like 8:15 p.m. And then that time where I went through that whole thing where I thought I had died and got on a spaceship, I opened my eyes, looked at my friend, and I'm like, what time is it? And he's like, 8:17. That 2 hours was only 2 minutes.
That's funny.
Sounds like a fucking Quentin Tarantino movie or something right there, man.
Yeah, your story, Pepper. I picture the Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas where he jumps in the back seat and he's trying to explain shit to the kid, and it's coming out all mumbly and shit.
Bro, I was frying balls, bro. I was frying balls. But it was just funny because, like, I've always been that person, like no matter what, I've been in a group of friends and everybody's like fucking tripping balls or just wasted beyond all recognition. And I'm always the person that antes up, grows a fucking pair, grabs those keys and does what they have to do and takes care of everybody and makes sure that everybody's safe. And then later when I know everybody's safe, then I trip out on my own. I guess I won't allow myself to fully enjoy it until I know it's 100, if that makes sense.
Dude, that's why you're sergeant. Come on.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, man.
And I definitely had that reaction with Salvia for whatever reason. You know what I mean? Like I had to coach everyone through Salvia because I was the only one that wasn't totally scared off by its effects, but knew what to expect and realized that anyone that I had done it with, they did it one time and they're like, I'm never fucking doing that shit ever again. So I got used to coaching people through it and like making them be like,
that's
it's all
no
right,
fun,
man.
dude.
It happens to everyone.
When I was in college, there was like 4 or 5 of us dudes. We used to do it. I did it like every weekend for like fucking that whole semester. Maybe like even more. But we would just fucking laugh our asses off and do stupid shit. The fucking campus that I was on was so trippy, dude. There was a student union. When you walk through the hallways, when you turn the hallway, it would totally be a different painted a different color. And it was like glowing. These colors were like glowing and shit. Oh man. I had my face, the best is when my face always hurt the next day from smiling so much.
Mm-hmm.
Canada Trooper, you're out, kid?
Yeah, I'm out of here. I'm gonna go catch a couple hours of Z's before I have to go hop on an early morning meeting.
All right,
Okay.
boys. Peace out, man.
Peace out.
Later, guys.
Yep. Peace.
There goes the guy that jumps out of planes.
Mm-hmm.
Right? No shit, man. Don't fuck
I like
with it.
Canada
It's
Trooper.
crazy.
Yeah, to give you a little bit of setting for that crazy mushroom experience. This was in a situation where me and my dad were trying to do something to help my mom, and the plan was to have her separated from someone that she was supposed to have a restraining order against. Okay, but anyways, she took it on her own duty to decorate her little whatever living space, and it had, you know, like typical, like everything was fiber optic lights. There was like if you remember that subcool thing that he had, that table, like a Tesla coil table that you could put your hands on, that kind of shit. And it had Christmas lights everywhere and like different tapestries, like Grateful Dead tapestries and shit like that. And I had a buddy from South Carolina, and he was all into that stuff too. So he added to that whole ambiance. And he was Clemson, you know, college football fan. And we split what was like, I guess it was 3.5 if it was a little bit short. It was supposed to be an 8. Maybe it was a little bit more, maybe a little bit less, but we split an 8. That's why I say 1.5. He handled his a little bit better than I did. And like I said, he was just totally occupied with, we were using my Xbox to connect to the internet, and he was on YouTube with my Xbox watching some Clemson game, right? And the mushrooms hadn't yet kicked in yet. We're just both sitting there. And there was a point in that game where a play happened where someone was trying to run out of bounds, and he was kind of like looking at a referee like, hey, did you blow the whistle? Am I knocked out? Should I keep going? And someone came by and just fucking smashed him. And then the announcer person was like, yeah, you got to play to the end of the whistle. And then that's what initiated that trip. Hearing that phrase, like, you got to play to the end of the whistle. And then I realized that, oh, I'm just getting into it now. It's not over to the whistle. Right? And I closed my eyes at that point. That's when the paralysis stuck in. And I had a duplicate, or I had a pair of Amish made lazy boys. These like super comfortable, super nice plush lazy boys. And I kicked that thing back and I just closed my eyes. And then anytime I opened my eyes, I saw shit that I knew wasn't real based upon the setting that I was in. And like I said, my mom had these Christmas lights, and they were just an ordinary white string of Christmas lights. And they didn't have any other function like flickering or pulsing or strobing or anything
Not
like
yet.
that. No, in ordinary real life, they didn't. But every time I opened my eyes and looked up, I would see the lights going dim and, and bright, dim and bright, dim and bright. And then I would close my eyes, and that's when all that other shit would kick in. And that's what led me into the whole thing. And I was hearing this sound, and I heard like a whistle sound, and I thought it was literally like a traction beam. I thought I was being sucked up on a spaceship. And it took me to open my eyes again and kind of like lift myself out of the seat and look at the Xbox and be like, oh, that's the fan on the Xbox. That ain't no fucking spaceship. And that's what kind of, it was just little bits like that, like in that 2-minute span of time, like I said, that I was being tortured. And my buddy, he realized that I was all spun out of control, and he switched because what spun me off was that the announcer saying you got to play to the end of the whistle. And I told him that I didn't like hearing that because it made me think of how long I have to go for this trip. So
he got a whistle for you.
No, he switched the YouTube, and we went to Mitch Hedberg stand-up. So I just started laughing at that, and that kind of soothed me and made me feel all right. Put me back on the ground at least. I mean, I was definitely still tripping out of control, but I was grounded.
There you go. Good.
We had a place called Bagby Hot Springs. Took an eighth of shrooms, walk in there at midnight with candles, and you get in these hollowed out logs. You bring in the hot water from the spring. It's a hot spring, and you sit there and melt in these tubs that are hollowed out logs, no light except candles. And on the way out one time, there's these power lines that are above, and you can just hear them, And I looked up, and there were these huge balls of energy just sliding down these lines. And dude, I sat there, I thought for hours. It was just a few minutes. It was even a few seconds because we were walking, right? And I'm sitting there like that, and the guy behind me bumps into me. I'm like, oh, wow. Well, it must not have been that long, right? So you just total time distortion. But that was years ago, brother. I'm taking small microdoses now that are really designed to heal. And they're not so much recreational, although I did order some half gram capsules. I'm going to put those aside for a special treat. But I find it very good. I think people my age especially, if you're lacking energy, fuck, dude, no more. Just fucking running around like, oh, it's time for my nap. Guess not.
That's awesome.
So yeah, man. Cougar Hot Springs, I haven't, John. Thank you, buddy. It's called Bagby Hot Springs in Oregon. I don't know if it's still even there, but we used to go in there all the time.
That reminds me what they say. This is get kind of nerdy into the whole that psychedelic realm, but the Eleusinian mysteries, the Greek version of the mystery schools, like the Egyptian mystery schools. And their initiation process was basically like the world's first flotation or isolation tank, sensory deprivation tank. And they would go in a cave, and they'd have these, like, basically, like you said, they could be a hollowed out log. I think in this case, they're like stone baths or something like that. But they would fill it with salt water for it to be buoyant. And then they'd take what they called kykeon or something like that, and it was a ergot fungus, or the same thing you derive LSA or LSD from.
Yeah,
so
man.
It was a LSD basically spiked beer.
That was the real first bicycle day? Is that what you're saying, Red Pill?
Yeah, because they didn't isolate. What LSA is really what LSD comes from, and LSA is in a lot of shit. It's in mold, it's in Hawaiian woodrow seeds, it's in morning glory seeds, and a lot of shit. Just like DMT is in a lot of shit that you can find.
Right.
But yeah, they would basically drink this LSA beer and float on this like saltwater bath in the darkness of a cave and just totally slip out of their bodies and experience a whole lot of shit. But that's what the priest class, that's their initiation process in like the Greek priest class.
Well, I think I watched an episode of Joe Rogan where he did something like that, where he's in one of those flotation devices where you're just
That's the modern day
you
one.
Trip
And,
anyway, when you're in that when you're in that sensory deprivation, doesn't it like make you feel like you're tripping anyway?
Yeah,
supposedly, yeah.
You don't have to have any ingestibles to enhance the experience. You can do it totally natural by itself. Yes. But what the function that it's working is actually the exact same as ketamine and, oddly enough, salvia. And both of those have a effect to where they cut you off from your five senses. That's actually what's taking effect to give you that out-of-body experience, either through ketamine or salvia. They both have some response to where your body reacts to it, and it disassociates from all five of your senses. And
good old Special K.
Yeah, the way that the sensory deprivation tanks are set up is the only sensory input you have for just a little while is your ears being underwater, which some people put earplugs in, and the smell of the saltwater bath that you're in. But other than that, the water is heated up to the exact same temperature as your skin, and you're in a completely dark, isolated chamber. So if you can relax still and not bump against the walls or the end of the bath or whatever, you get real relaxed, and it only takes like 15 or 30 minutes for your brain or whatever you want to call it to have that natural effect.
Huh. Interesting.
Try it sometime. I think good.
If you want to go take a
someone in the a friend in the cannabis community, Todd McCormick, if anyone ever talks to him or has ever heard his experience with that, he met one of the pioneers of sensory deprivation tanks named John Lilly. And the reason that he already had known about it from like pre things too, but he decided to kind of engineer better devices to do it. And he would do LSD and ketamine, and he would get in these sensory deprivation tanks, one prototype after another, finding the best one. And he would do it right next to a SeaWorld aquarium full of dolphins. And they would actually have like places where they cohabitated with dolphins, where they made like a house with like 3 feet of water in it and like floaties and everything. And there's people and dolphins living together, and people doing LSD and ketamine and hopping in sensory deprivation tanks. And this John Lilly guy was trying to translate English to dolphin speak or dolphin speak to English. Right. And Todd McCormick had the opportunity to meet him, and he just felt so like invited or gracious to be in that situation to where he didn't say no to anything. So John Lilly's like, want to hop in the isolation tank? And he's like, sure. And then he's like, before you hop in, you want this jab of fucking ketamine? And he's like, sure. So he goes in one of the isolation tanks, and then like 15 minutes later, they hear him flailing and thrashing and having a bad time. So John Lilly has like a rescue thing, and he jabs himself with ketamine and hops in another isolation tank. And supposedly they had this telepathy communication thing where John Lilly found him in the astral world and kind of helped him out and brought him back to safety and consciousness. Otherwise, we might not have Todd McCormick. He might have been one of those lost people from psychedelics. And that's a whole story that I've heard Joe Rogan explain. I've heard. What was that? Sorry.
Did they figure out how to talk to dolphins or what?
They're convinced they did. They're convinced to the point where dolphins fully can understand everything we're telling them, but they can't speak, obviously, with their little porpoise or whatever in English back to us.
Can you imagine what the dolphins were saying?
Yeah, what did they tell
them? To these stoned humans today. It was pretty cool.
Dude, you can go watch these documentaries. There's a lot of it, dude. Just, like I said, look up John Lilly and dolphins, or just John Lilly isolation tanks, and you'll find it.
You know what, boys? I'm fading out. I'm gonna drop out, man.
I'm already hit it too, guys. Dude, it's been great talking though.
You guys are dyslexic. It's 4:02, not 4:20.
Oh,
Come on, guys. Let's get it to the dab time, guys. I got one ready to go.
I'm
You
gonna
gotta hang in there.
All right, fuck it. I'm in.
All
I'm
right.
in.
Attaboy, Tal. Get your ass in there and don't be a quitter.
all right. Fucking peer pressure.
Yeah.
Now I know what Eagle feels like.
Peer pressure sucks.
Ego, are those the Earth box ones that you're trimming up in the opposing the bad guy girls?
Those were both
The ones that are in the
ones
naughty
that I just.
the naughty girls over there.
Eagle's actually trying to get shit
Yeah.
done.
Yeah, he's getting something done tonight.
Yeah, that was the one in the front there. This is one of the Earth Box girls. There's some pretty chunky buds on here.
Yeah.
See? Not denying that. There's some whoppers. Yeah. Not bad, not bad.
Fuck yeah.
But
Wait, where's the
you
support
can
on that?
see, you know.
Who can support those buds? What do you got?
No
supporting
support
them?
on them. Same thing I got supporting the cocoa buds. Nothing.
Ooh, nothing.
And they're littler stems.
They're genetically stable.
Smaller trees though. I can clean them out a little bit better. But they weren't as healthy as they were as the earth boxes were. When they went in, earth boxes were a lot greener. But they did well, you know. Decent sized buds. Not as huge as some of the cocoa or the earth box buds, but they're still decent size.
Trimmed up on a platter, it'll look
What are
just.
those, like day 40 or some shit? Like,
Oh, these ones should be right around like 50, 56. This is like right around January 1st I flipped them.
are they getting
So yeah.
close to harvest then? Is that what you're doing there? You're cleaning them up?
Yeah, they're getting close. The hairs are turning right on them. They're looking pretty good. Fading. Their box is faded. I give them that. I think I might have like overdid the size of the pot. You know what I mean? For an earth box. I don't know. I had a little bit of a fading, but it's, you know, I think I just went a little big for that run. You know what I mean? I don't know.
It's nug.
Still
it's like
did
good
well.
nug
Still
meat.
did well.
Some good nug meat there.
Oh, most definitely. Look at them fat nugs. Lots of fat nugs there. That's just the one. The other one's right here behind this thing.
You could put
There's
some
still
of
one
that.
right there.
Yeah, that's the one. Look at the one he's hiding. Does it just look bigger because he didn't clean it up already?
No, there's just a lot more smaller buds on this one.
Right.
It was more of
Yeah,
a bush. And that one had more bigger buds. But they did well. I ain't bitching for the setup. I'm quite happy.
There you go.
Quite happy.
It ain't difficult, that's for sure.
No, not at all. Not at all. I can't get any easier than looking in that tube. But one thing I did do towards the end there was I started watering from the top like every 4 waterings or so. Might have been 3, but every couple waterings I'd go from the top, try to push some of that shit down to the roots, and then I'd come back from the bottom the next watering.
Yeah,
That was the only thing I did.
I think it does water from the top though, Eagle. If you ever pull that shower cap back that's on the top there, it'll be wet and you'll see it like form. It'll, you know what I mean? It condensates on that plastic and drips back down onto the top. So I mean, I think there's kind of an ebb and flow of that also.
Yeah, it's an easy trim job. So am I the only one that does that? Last week, a week or so, go in there and just strip them bitches to next to nothing.
I do it constantly. I do it every day. I mean, it's just plant is next. Come on, who's up? It's so beneficial. I've found in my garden, especially. I don't know. I think it actually produces better buds because you get more light. They're more subtle. They seem to have more hormone action. And I spend most of my time leaf stripping every fucking day. Seriously.
You know how you say you like to wet trim? That's the thing is you can begin your wet trim as a plant still living. You know what I mean? It's there, it's wet, it's living. You're taking leaves off. You're getting to a point where there's not many fan leaves or leaves that have long stems attached to whatever center or side branch that it is. You're only pretty much left with sugar leaves at that point.
People argue that you're stressing the plant and you're going to get hurt.
If the plant sat there and already ate what came off the leaf, I would think the plant's happy, not stressed out.
I'm just a big white deer that runs up and chomps on them every day and takes off leaves.
I definitely think there's some kind of chemical reaction going on in a wet trim, to be honest with you. And I've honestly noticed a slight difference in that from when I've started a plant and then walked away from it for a day and then went back to it. It seems like what was left was a little bit different from the day I started on. Yeah. And, I think that's one difference. And the other difference is between wet and a dry trim. Like I was telling my Medicropper the other day, I think it isn't just the leaves coming down, the sugar leaves coming down and wrapping over the buds and keeping the terps available, more
what's
preserved.
Left in those leaves that might get absorbed by the plant, right? As it's drying.
Yep. It's that because it's still alive. It's still going through through a process.
I experienced that a lot because, like I said, at the peak of me growing the most frequently, what I was doing is growing all those freebie seeds I got from Attitude each time I bought seeds. So every single run that I had was a seedling, and it was always one of one, matched up of 4 different varieties at a time. And I would definitely notice plants, even if I would still do, like saying, primarily just a wet trim, hang the plants up. They still got a little bit of sugar leaf on them where you're going to do a dry trim over a keef box or a trim tray anyways. But I definitely did notice plants that did have that. Maybe all of them were doing it simultaneously, but like 1 out of the 4 always kind of sucked up something from those leaves that kind of put something off-putting in the terpene profile or made it harder to cure. Once those leaves were chopped up and then put in jars, it didn't cure the way that it smelled on the plant. Versus some plants, they were more or less fine with it. You could have a little bit of sugar leaf on the plant, trim it up, put it in the jar, and it cures the same way it smelled on the plant, or if not better, as it gets a little bit older. But yeah, some plants, and that's one of the there's not many things to correlate it to at that point. And one of the first things that I could think of, or the very first thing I could think of, is the amount of leaf that's still left on that plant is being sucked up and absorbed to the stem and then to the buds. And especially if they're hanging upside down, not only is the plant doing it, but now gravity is doing it too.
Exactly. That's why I like to do a full plant hang. And even though I do leaf strip a lot, there's a ton of leaves left on there. And I do I wish I could get better at getting rid of a lot of the large leaves prior to hanging, but I just don't take the time to do it because then I could improve my trim for making rosins and what have you. But it's just, what do you take your time with? Plus, I let my plants hang sometimes for a month or more. And I've noticed some distinct benefits in doing so. Instead of jarring them up, right? I just, as medicine is needed, I go to the closet and I take out a plant and I just do that plant as it's needed. Mm-hmm. And sometimes it's been in there a month and a half. And like that DJ short blueberry, I swear to God, it got better. I was like, wow. So I actually put that aside for myself. I'm like, yeah, this ain't going nowhere.
That's in the description that DJ Short originally wrote for blueberry. Is that
really?
Yeah, one of the reasons why he
store as well.
Yep, exactly.
Huh. Well, it definitely proved like I said, I'm running more of it. I mean, it didn't give me a big yield, but again, it's like my BlackBerry. It doesn't yield much, but it's choice stuff, man. Choice.
Mhm.
Like that kind of stuff.
Yeah. I've had really good luck. Like I said, that blue velvet that I grew, I only grew 3 seeds out of a 10 pack, and those 3 seeds would have had to have been run more to determine one to keep over the other. That's how good 3 out of the 7 were.
Isn't that wonderful when you know you've made such a wise decision that you know, like, geez, every seed's doing so well.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the kind of experience I want people to have if they get any of my seeds. And it's why I'm really leery as well. But I'm pretty on this breeding project. They've all been pollinated and they're sitting. And I'm going to group, I've tagged them all. I'm going to group them together in one tent now that they've been pollinated, and the males are all going to die. But I'm really interested to see, as every breeding, it's a small, I mean, I'm not talking a handful of plants,
Mhm.
but it's going to be fun. Does that kind of shit excite you guys? I mean, it gets me going, man.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean,
Sure.
if you make true hybrids, like something that I'm probably going to run into in some point is crossing 2 plants that make such a good F1 hybrid that I'm going to be tempted to either line breed or back cross 2 different, specimens I find from that F1 seed line. The example I kind of bring up, this might not, maybe I'm cursed, whatever. Maybe I'm forcing myself to at some point accidentally, not on purpose, do this. But the example I always give is a Bubba Kush to a Super Lemon Haze, and that would make a very good hybrid between a plant that stays short and squatty, has a very different, characteristic terpene profile, to a plant that's tall and lanky that also has a very characteristic terpene profile that have a night and day difference between one another. So then you cross those 2 plants together, and now you're finding plants that have the stature and growth of Bubba Kush, but they have the terpene profile of the Super Lemon Haze. And then you find plants that has the opposite, the growth structure of the Super Lemon Haze with Bubba Kush terpenes, right? And so it's like, what do you end up liking more if both things happen and you appreciate both things at the same time? And, to me, if I were to do that cross in that particular way, the one that would jump out to me for whatever reason would finding lemon haze terpenes on a Bubba Kush profile plant. Right? And then I would be tempted to back cross that or line breed that or S1 that. But it would be a very hard determination between the two, because they'd be each plant would be so unique.
That's what's up, Tal. Nice to look.
Don't get me started. Yeah, man, that sounds awesome.
Looking at, Tal.
Seriously.
American Wall. You're on mute.
You muted.
Yeah, I was saying some of them look better than others. I can't. I think I made it close up. Now I can't undo the close up. But whatever.
You can't talk and use the camera at the same time.
I can do anything. Come on now.
Good.
We threw them off.
There you
So-
go.
Hard, man. Don't worry. Just show us the bugs. They look gorgeous.
Mm-hmm.
You're coming along.
Looking
But
nice.
yeah, I definitely screwed up the. I can't make it zoom out or in, whatever. It's like close up right now. But yeah, that's one time I got.
They're kicking ass, man. You don't mark dates
Tal.
either, though, do you, Tal? So you don't know how far along a flower those are.
I labeled this one plant. This last one that came in, it was February 16th. All the rest, no.
We got under his skin. He's labeling them now. Wait till Ego writes a date down. He's like, never gonna,
Never.
never gonna be, never.
Yeah, it
Testers.
influences it.
Testers only get states. Testers only get states.
Turn it off and on maybe once, it might help.
So Tao,
There we
what
go,
are
there
the
you go.
chances you'd breed Mystery Machine times fucking Sour Diesel and give us a Van Diesel strain? Huh?
Yeah.
Okay. I got to think of what would be the Rodney Dangerfield then.
We could get that down. It'll be a while though. I got too many things in the works, man.
Rodney
Okay,
Dangerfield.
so I'm thinking Rodney Dangerfield and no respect. So one end of the strain has to be, or one end of the cross has to be the most underrated strain that we could think of that doesn't get any respect. So we're gonna have to think tank that one and then
Blue
cross
Dream.
No,
That gets no respect.
No respect now.
we're not making a Blue Dream cross.
But it's not underrated though. That's not.
Yeah.
That's what he's saying. He gets no respect.
That's not everybody cares about.
But what strain is there that doesn't get respect? That's actually
That's good.
true. Yeah,
Lost respect. What happened?
Lost respect. All right.
Yeah,
I like
shit
that.
talks it. I don't know why.
I can think of all kinds of them. I don't know.
All right, so you pick one, right, Bill? What's the
I'll think
underrated,
about it. Yeah.
non-respected but should be respected strain? I think like Talking Heads they're like rated, but they should be a lot better rated because yeah, man. I dig on the Talking Heads.
Do you like use Talking Heads?
I got a pretty eclectic, well, not eclectic. I got like a variety of music I like. But yeah, man, Bunny Wailer, dudes. He was like, I put up the one clip. He talked about pot all the time at his shows, all the time.
Is that actual cultivar, Talking Heads?
No, it's a band, dude.
Well, come on, man. You got me excited now. I thought there was a Talking Heads strain out there. I thought you put it together.
Oh, I can make the strain that'll be underrated.
It's 420. It's dabs up, guys.
Oh, cheers, man.
Cheers.
Definitely be a sativa strain.
It is fun coming up with names.
Well, it's funny to say it because the one I thought of is I don't understand why it's not whatever you want to say, like something that people think of when they get extremely high all the time. Maybe it's just people that got to experience it, and it's never there for people to experience because it's not a plant popular plant that people grow. Would be anything Apollo 11, Apollo 13, Vortex, Void, Third Dimension, all the Brothers Grimm stuff, the Apollo Haze, and there's Apollo in a lot of stuff. There's a lot of people have made Apollo and Chemdog crosses. One of the saddest scenes.
That's like 0.2, Bengus.
This is a strain Mandela sent me called Kala Chakra. She said it's very vigorous. It's from a land race from North India. So I'm kind of excited about that. I don't know if it's got purple calyxes though, red, but we'll see.
Well, the Northern India, here's the separation thing, and it has to do a lot with how people want to switch terminology for plants that we talk about and what's actually sativa and indica. What throws a lot of people off is how big India actually is. And the term indica means derived from India. And Southern India plants are more subtropical. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. The northern ones are actually hybridized plants between what's actually called Afghanica. Those are plants that are derived from Afghanistan. So in northern India, you have more of a Afghanica dominant hybrid between Afghanica and Indica. Right, so they're all three different plants when you look at one another. The Afghan plants are like the most stout, almost auto flowering stature looking,
Yeah. That's where that alien technology came from. I really wish I could find.
The northern India ones, those have, like I said, very vigorous, but still very broadleaf. You're going to find big broadleaf bushes out of that, like GG4 looking plants.
She spoke pretty highly of them, so I told her I would definitely grow them. They're a good, Mandela is, that's where I got the 8 Mile. I was replenishing my 8 Mile seeds and she threw in these other ones. But with the recommendation, you need to grow these. Like,
Well, there you go.
you know what I mean? Like,
All right. I'm dropping out, kids.
all right, Chow, good to see you, brother. I'm gonna Eagle Man, thanks
Dingus,
for this hang, buddy.
Red Pill, Smiley, Sergeant, fucking Eagle.
Later, Chow.
It's always good fucking talking shit with Eagle. Even though he didn't say much tonight, it's always good.
We got some shit done.
Have a good one, man.
Yeah,
Thanks
we'll
for
make
popping in, Bingus.
we can make the Van Diesel.
Red Pill, always nice. Smiley, buddy, I like you, man, so much because you're smiling. Tao, Sergeant, I don't normally salute sergeants, but I will you, my friend. And everybody in the chat room.
Always good to see Bingus.
Yep.
Everyone in the chat room, take care.
Peace out.
Peace. Peace
Later,
out, Tom.
Chow.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I
Like
didn't mean to
tape
make it the pink flower and dolphin episode.
Oh no, it is what it is.
It sounds like an ecstasy episode. Jesus.
The pink dolphin.
What I like about
Pink,
that's what I like
pink
about
dolphins,
these
bro.
episodes. You never know where they're gonna go. I think if they were scheduled, there'd be no fun. I don't have any fun in the shit that's scheduled. I just have fun with random shit. I did dig that episode on the hallucinogen honey though. I watched that whole fucking thing, and halfway through another fucking special before I realized I was watching a different thing.
I wasn't sure when
It just
I
played
sent
out.
that to you, if you had seen that already. That got suggested to me a while back, and that was the second time. You know, YouTube kind of forgets that it might have suggested a video you've already seen. So I saw that, and I was kind of talking about it earlier. Is with World's Last Hope is like one of my dream inputs. I would replace anything I would use molasses for. I would replace with that hallucinogenic honey, if I could.
That
Yeah.
would be. I think you might have something there.
Mhm.
Like what?
Man, I
Wait, water into
I would try some.
it, honey? I think you'd be better off to take.
I'm gonna do both. I want a regular access to it, but my theory on it, the only reason why I'm actually seriously considering it, not just joking, is because what's imparting that psychedelic compound into that honey is actually a poisonous plant, right? It's poisonous to basically all mammals. If your dog got into it, or if we ate a leaf of it, it'd kill us. It's rhododendron, supposedly. Supposedly, what's contributing to its color and its effect. But my whole thing is with how things get. Honey is a primary metabolite, or the vomit of a bee to feed a little baby bee, right? And sugar complexes, or simple sugars, are what gets taken up by a plant to turn into secondary metabolites that end up being either terpenes or cannabinoids. So my theory is, with that honey, when you have something that already possesses terpenes from these wild flowers and psychedelic compounds or psychoactive compounds, does that translate to, or boost, supplement that the ability of that, cannabis plant to do the same thing? Turn it directly into terpenes and right into psychoactive compounds, THC.
I have no idea, man. That's good interesting thought. Especially having it bound to a sugar like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know.
So Red Pill, I can't help but wonder if you'd really notice if you've got that steady supply of the loose legit honey and shit. If you're just not whopped out from the fucking honey all the time, going, man, this shit's getting me fucking off. It might just be the honey.
I would love to be that guy that shows up to an event, you know, that fucking whatever.
Start
confident.
passing around some toast to that shit.
Yeah, all that confident, you know, like thinking that that's what I'm high on is just these K&F honey plants or whatever. But really, I'm just tripping on the honey.
Yeah, I was gonna say you wouldn't even need the honey, really, would you? You could use a tincture, or you could make a tea, or you could do anything, right? Like,
Yeah,
the...
lots of stuff. I like Eagle said, I'd be putting that on my waffles. I like honey on waffles, so that'd be doing.
Yeah, there was a lot of spiritual stuff on the way to getting the honey that I kind of digged, but man, come on, you really what they did for that honey? I mean, they actually were like they were coordinated. They had a team. They had some cats underneath lighting a fire, kind of blowing the smoke up there, while this other cat came from like above. On a ladder. They actually made a ladder out of sticks and fucking rope right there.
You want to see something about
this
ladders?
Fucker over.
I'll show you another.
You know what they used to support him? It was a root. They fucking dug up around a tree root and wrapped the ladder around that and was like, yeah, this shit will hold him. Get on that ladder, guy. Fucking you lowered him down and shit.
It held like 9 out of 10 of them before it broke down.
Fucking then they got the old cat on the ladder getting the fucking honey with a stick. They got fucking thing on a stick and he's just jabbing it in there and they're catching it. They got one. This is how coordinated they are. They got one guy like lowered down with the basket. He's poking it with a stick, and they got another cat lowering down fucking bundles of fucking leaves to smoke them out, like if they attack him. So there's like 3 people working at once to get this fucking honey. I'm like, holy shit, that's a fucking team effort. The other thing I want to say about that little documentary, I don't know where exactly they were, but man, I wouldn't fight that village, man. The way they fucking, the one cat got so high he couldn't even walk, so they fucking carried him down the hill like this. They put his hand on top of his head, so like all the weight was on his fucking neck. They grabbed him like this and carried the guy on his back. And he's fucking just like,
down
like,
a mountain.
Holy yeah. This guy's neck's got to be made of fucking steel and shit. That's how they were hauling shit, man. Everything by the weight of their neck, just hanging backwards on them. I was like, man, that shit just looks fucking painful. That's a buddy right there. They can't fucking carry you down a mountain while you're fucking driving your neck into your shoulders.
Yeah,
that's a bummer.
There's another documentary I'll try to find too if you want to see even crazier ladder. I think either the way to find it or the actual title of the documentary is the world's most remote school or the hardest walk to school on earth, something like that. But it's in similar place. That video, the honey video, is in Nepal, and these. This video I'm talking about now, I think they're in Tibet or China, but it's the same thing. It's like little 5-6-year-olds going to preschool, kindergarten, climbing like this 200-foot, natural resource made fucking ladder up a ice cliff, like a crevasse in the top of the fucking Himalayas and shit. And this is normal life for these little ass kids. Oh yeah. I forgot the rest. I was gonna mention something else about the honey thing too.
Crazy.
I'd love to try the honey, but I ain't being a part of that process. I guess I'm just that lazy.
I was gonna say that whole process would be totally changed if it was westernized, right? Because we'd have ornamentally or whatever greenhouse or some kind of Western way of growing those rhododendras adjacent to or right beside with, bee colonies. And we'd be technically, like manufacturing it on way more of a technical basis, and we'd have the equipment and the bee coverings and the actual canisters that they use to pacify bees and all that in normal conventional bee operations. But yeah, that could be westernized and done over here. And now this is like a thing that probably ain't going to be until like 2050, because first we got to legalize the mushrooms and the MDMA and then the LSD and then all the other drugs, and I got to have rehabilitation centers, and it's going to be a while and it's going to be, then it's going to be mescaline and iboga and a lot of shit way before anyone's advocating for legalizing hallucinogenic honey. But we'll get there.
I will say one thing: they're not going to be looking for the honey.
No, you could accidentally theoretically do this. I'm sure it happens to other plants of the same equivalent in North America. If there's toxin producing plants that bees tend to feed on their nectar and go give to the little babies, the same thing's going to happen. So this can be produced.
See Bingus.
That
fucking microdosing too. I fucking was just asking him about him the other night. Remember, Smiley? You were like, he was in chat. What, Friday? Whatever. It's nice to know he was just tripping balls. It's shit's fucking good time.
I recommend 2 grams. At least, because you're not, in my opinion, that's like to the edge to where you're like, you know what I mean? Where like anytime you take like the 1 gram, it's just you wish you would have done more kind of thing. So it's almost like the 2 gram gets you there. It's a nice dose. It's fucking like a 5-6 hour buzz. You're fucking done. It's cool.
See, the ones that I've got, the truffles aren't as laughy or as like psychedelic. It's say like you would like a penis envy or whatever. They're more of a mind trip, a deep mind trip. Truffles.
Internal and
if you're still gonna try to track down spores, try to consider those Mazatec ones if you haven't already experienced it, just to kind of like be another testimony, because there's a whole tradition based around them in like Oaxaca, Mexico, and serious like shaman type, rite of passage stuff. So it's like actual finding a legit true strain of cannabis that has properties in it that gets you either medicated or high, and it's always a tried and true thing that you never have to be skeptical of if you're getting the right shit or if it's going to have the same effect as last time, or that kind of thing. Pretty sure these Mazatec ones, unless there's other more, I've heard Azarescence and other varieties being really strong too, but I think the Mazatecs are pretty much topping out.
Completely dropped the ball yesterday. I'm sorry, Smiley. Go ahead, bro.
Oh, I'm just saying I'm gonna hop out, man. I'm tired. Come over for a minute. It's been a good time.
Yeah, I'm gonna hop out with you too, Smiley. Take it easy, Repel, Eagle Gardens, Smiley.
Take one with me. You go every time.
Fucking clean the room last night, Smiley, man. Like you didn't even give me a chance to rebut there. Damn. I actually forgot what I was going to say, too. You cut me off, and I forgot what I was going to say. Damn. Totally forgot.
Was it related to the spores or something after Smiley said?
No, I don't think it had any. Oh, I think it was just the guess. what happened with the guest. That's what I was gonna say. Yeah, I had my first like super stupid scheduling mistake yesterday, uh, which was fucking the days. It, Gap 420 was supposed to be on the other night, and he's in South Africa, and I knew there is what like 5 hour difference, possibly 6. So I knew that. So I told him, it's 11:30 for me. It's gonna be 6:30 in the morning. I tried to make it as clear as possible, but when I said the day, it was his morning, which was like, you know what I mean? My night. Basically, it was all fucked up. So it was my fault. I forgot to specify whose day it was when the scheduling of that interview. So I learned a little something with every scheduling. That was my fuck up the other night. So tonight, I don't know what happened with tonight's guest, man. Sometimes it's ever so often, man. It seems to work just how like people leave in twos. I have scheduling conflicts that work in threes. So I'm waiting to see who the next fumble is here in the next. I mean, the schedule's full, but I'm telling you, the fumbles come in 3. I don't know what it is, but they come in 3.
Yesterday, I'm glad you did that little post today, saying that you'd be here for a wormhole. Because yesterday, when I didn't see that the episode was happening, that I had almost feeling like messaging you if you were gonna do a wormhole, right? And I was probably gonna end up doing that tonight if you didn't post that, whatever update or whatever we get to see on the subscription. So
You should.
yeah,
You should, because sometimes I'm like on the fence. You know what I mean? Like even tonight, you know what I mean? I talked to Smiley like early on, and everybody's got their shit to do.
Yeah.
But I've said early on that I try to make this as little about me as possible. So I don't want to like if the guest cancels, I don't want to try to wing it for like 2 hours until like people start popping on. So I hit Smiley. I'm like, hey man, guest canceled. He was like, man, I'm still 2 hours out. I'm like, I got 2 hours work to do. I ain't gonna go on and just see if somebody shows up. So
yeah, because I wasn't here for a couple days, and then I caught the shout outs, and I'm like, oh, I missed the. I was here, but I didn't jump in, so I just kind of felt like hopping in and catching up and that kind of stuff. So yesterday I was thinking, it didn't happen, and I was thinking based on the night before, I'm like, oh well, I'm definitely hopping in the next wormhole. So yesterday I'm like, oh, it didn't really, and whatever happened, and you didn't come on, so I'm thinking like, oh, tomorrow I'm definitely gonna hit him up. So
I'm glad you did.
I'll do that from future on. If I'll always let you know now if I'm like sitting around and I don't got nothing that I'm doing. I'll send a message to you, ask if you're.
It's easier to come on when I know somebody's coming.
Mm-hmm.
Jason Eyestone is asking, do I have anyone scheduled for the 420 episode, or should it be on May 25th? Good memory there, Jason. Jason, that's awesome. The 25th is the 1-year anniversary of the show. I think I'm just going to be regular night. I've kind of reached out to a guest, and I'm kind of waiting on a response to hit from him. If he says no, then I think I'm gonna just do a fucking like party episode, free for all celebration night, but not a 24-hour episode. But I am still gonna put together, I think, a 420 episode. Hell, we did it last year in fucking less than fucking 7 days, so I think I can throw something together within the next month.
Hey, remember I said it'd be. I suggested and it would be cool. It'd probably be hard to get because he's not totally, within the cannabis atmosphere or industry. The terpene guy I sent you would be a cool guest.
Oh yeah.
Another one I thought, and I don't know if you already have, but do you follow cannabis legalization news? Their channel.
I do.
Okay. Have you had anyone, either Tom or Miguel or whoever on as a guest?
No, not yet. That would be a good one too.
Oh,
I would
yeah.
love to get a terpene guy on there. I've reached out to a couple of them, and I don't know. I think sometimes the name, it depends. Like somebody, you know what I mean? Somebody in different fields, they kind of look at the name.
Yeah.
There's some people though, man. Some people that I think wouldn't like the name of the title. I reached out to this gal the other day, lady grower. I'm like, yeah, I was hesitant because she's an older lady. Cannabis advocate, Canna Pam, should be on later this week. She's an older lady. She's probably 60, 65, but a lady nonetheless. And so I approached her about coming on the show. She had a lot of great information and many, many, many aspects of cannabis. And I'm like, yeah, it'd be nice to have you on the show. And she's like, well, how do I find it? Where's it at? And I'm like, oh yeah, it's called Fucking Talking Shit with Ego. And she's like, I love it. I love it. Heck yeah. I'm like, yeah. Good. That makes it easier. I had light sponsors. I had a few light people in the beginning that were sponsoring me before the show. Before I did any of this, I actually had light sponsors. And then when I started doing this, I kind of told them to fuck themselves a little bit because I didn't want the show to be, you know what I mean, a commercial. Yeah. So I didn't do it. I kind of laid off that shit. But I tried to get one of them in the beginning to come on because it was a nice light. I wanted to talk spectrum and all that good shit that we like to talk about. And wouldn't come on. He told me that was the reason. I'm sorry.
Just the name.
I cannot be associated with the show that says it has fucking and shit in the title. I don't, when they search up my name, I don't want fucking and shit coming up, associated with it, because I deal with a lot of people that aren't in the cannabis industry. I'm like, yeah, but obviously you're trying to reach these people. Otherwise, I wouldn't have a test light. You know what I mean? You wouldn't have me posting on it. So this is your audience. Why not just come on the show? And it wasn't until like he seen some of the guests on, and once Danny Danko came on, and he was like, "Oh, I can come on the show now," and I'm like, "I'm good."
Cut him off.
It's true though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Been an awesome journey. I can't believe it's almost a year already, man. It's that year spun around quick.
Thankfully, too. I mean, I remember I don't know to the extent what pre 2020, but just being excited at the fact that it's like, oh, it's 2020 now. Where's the flying cars at? And so much optimism what 2020 was going to bring. Little did we know how it would roll out, But you made the best out of the situation, I'd say. So.
That's right. We're close to the cars aren't flying yet, but they're fucking, some of them are driving themselves.
Right. Well,
I've
close. You know what? Either I'm really high right now, or I almost want to say it was Indra that I heard this from. I couldn't be getting this mistake, or maybe I could imagine it coming from Indra. But the whole concept of flying cars is actually helicopters. They engineered and came out with helicopters, but they're just not practical enough for everyone to have helicopter that they you know, they land on their roof, or they have their commute to work, and there's just tens of thousands or whatever millions of helicopters flying around. But the most technical you could get to what a flying car really is a helicopter. That is a flying car. It's transport that, you know, you use to get around, and it doesn't have four wheels and it doesn't roll on the ground. But that people are expecting some kind of crazy anti-gravitic technology or some levitating type thing when it already exists in the form of a helicopter. It's right there. That's a flying car.
It's just you take on perception, I guess. Well, it isn't in the aspect that it doesn't have wheels. I guess would argue the fact that I don't think it's a car. Very close. I mean, similar.
It works for me. I'm not someone that thinks that there's a. I think, you know, we could probably go backwards in history to figure out the last time there was like a peak of some kind of technological, like industrial revolution. Like we have technological revolution right now, and even going so far into maybe at someday VR is going to be indistinguishable from reality. You know what I mean? I think we're already almost at the peak of a lot of things. And for me, I don't have to believe in some kind of like saying like anti-gravity or rocket ship type of vehicle that we have to wait for it to be technically called the flying car. To me, the helicopter meets all those parameters where, yeah, you know, that's what the pinnacle or the most advanced technology in that field comes down to. You're not going to achieve anything more. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe, you know, maybe it's going to be someday we're all going to be like Star Trek, and in the 2300s or 2400s, we're going to be fucking going around the galaxy, but who knows?
You know, I was listening to the quantum mathematician the other day speak, and he was saying that they were talking about virtual reality. They were wondering if it were to happen, if we would know. You know what I mean? How would we know that we were living in a sim? And what the gentleman said is basically, by the time we make a computer that is able to simulate a reality so close to ours, that it would be able to simulate so many other sims at once, that there would be so many going at once that you wouldn't know it was a sim.
That's actually the
and
job.
I thought about with that being said, maybe because of, you know, just the idea of perception, maybe we are all pre-programmed. You know what I mean? We're all released simulation of a world or a reality playing out in a similar scenario all at once to that AI. Just like he said, they'd all be going at once. So what's not to say we're all not individual sims that's been unleashed all at once, and we're just feeding back to the program.
That's really what why I chose Red Pill for it, you know, whatever my YouTube thing, whatever. There's a lot of people in the past 4 years that make it into like some kind of, you know, Republican thing, pro-Trump thing. That's not at all what it's associated with. But the Red Pill thing in the movie The Matrix represents everything from our history that is the same repeated story that all the ancient people have, like Pandora's box, or the forbidden fruit, or Prometheus stealing fire from the gods, or Loki and the Norse myths. They're all actually the same exact story repeated over time. And that's all that the red pill in the movie The Matrix is. It's the moment of enlightenment where you kind of see the whole world for itself. You don't have a small picture of the world no more. Now you see everything. Or it's kind of like the other two things is Plato's. It's called Plato's Allegory of the Cave. And that's a thing where he wrote that people were captured in a cave and never seen the outside world, and their entire information of what the world was illustrated or projected shadow puppets on a wall, where they do little shadow puppets and tell stories of how the world was created and what the world is and all that. And it took for one like escapee to go outside above ground to see what the world really was, and then come back to the cave and explain it to people, and them think he's crazy. And then the same exact analogy is for fish being pulled out of the water, and then seeing people in a boat and all this and that, and it's catch and release, and you throw the fish back, and the fish tells a story about a whole nother world above the water that people exist in. So yeah, that was like 2013 when I made this channel or whatever. But I got obsessed with Joe Rogan and Brian Redband talking about simulation theory on the podcast, and then me being able to point out more and more synchronicities, like really weird coincidences or synchronicities in life. Like it just became a more. Yeah.
Every so often you see something and you go, "That's a glitch."
Yeah.
That's a glitch.
That's what it became. It became really susceptible to it. Where crazy stuff was thinking, and it would just make me laugh and giggle. Like, man, what is the odds of that happening? Some of them still happen today. A few nights ago, I got remember you said about the playlist? What song did you got? Oh, Fergie. Right at the beginning of this thing, you said Fergie snuck into your playlist on YouTube. Okay, so maybe a couple weeks ago, for whatever reason, Ace of Base made it into my YouTube playlist, right? And this last week on Kill
See
Tony,
the sign?
I saw the sign. This last week on Kill Tony, some joke got made and they brought up Ace of Base. And I was thinking, like, what the fuck? I have all those songs in my fucking head. And they did the same thing. They made an Ace of Base joke, and then Tony Hinchcliffe was like, oh, we should have saw the sign. You know, that kind of thing. And I'm like, oh, dude, that's one of those synchronicities. And it would happen at such a frequent basis back in 2013, where I lost the password to one YouTube channel and had to create another. And I'm like, what am I going to name it? And I was thinking just simulation theory, synchronicities, and then I just named it Red Pill, that thing. So
I dig it.
that's how I made that.
As I get older, man, that's a lot of, you would believe lately I have been listening to, like, that's why you had a lot of people listening to the show. You hadn't seen me in chats and shit. You know, usually I'm in every weed show, man. I've been doing that for years, man. But lately, man, I have totally disregarded pretty much all the shows. I hate to say that, but
yeah,
I've been fucking in with listening to Buddhism, many Buddhism books and philosophy stuff. A little bit of forest bathing, a little bit of this, Chinese, old ancient Chinese writings, Dogen, the Book of the Way, stuff, shit like that, man. That's what I've been spending most of my time with, is more fucking trying to figure shit out, man. I don't know why, but it's like the last month I've just been on this binge. Binge of enlightenment, I guess.
Yeah, I phase in and out of that too, a lot of that, you know, like here and there I'll go. I haven't had something that I would have to think for a minute. When was the last time I got like real into that as something new that I listened to? But a lot of times it's stuff that I listened to in the past that I try to look for again. You know, like, oh, I remember a Terrence McKenna thing or whatever, or another Joe Rogan thing, or other, you know, could be Alan Watts, or there's like a lot of different things that I heard before that I like to try to find again, you know, and try to listen to, and trying to think like, oh man, this is how much time and things passed and how collapsed or you know, contracted time is, to where, to me, a few years feels like a whole lifetime, you know, kind of like.
That's why I love my Audible.
Mhm.
That's why I like that Audible, man. I've always got it with me. I can re-listen to that shit as much as I'd like to.
I haven't done that in a while, but the last one I listened to is, have you ever heard of or watched a podcast that Joe had with Stephen Pressfield, or the author of a book that he always recommends, and it's The War of Art, not the art of war, but the war of art. And it's
No, I haven't.
it's really cool. It's like, it has the same effect that I guess some people get through like motivational therapy, but really it's like a scientific and like spiritual or psychological breakdown of what it actually is that gives us what the author calls resistance. And he breaks it down in saying that a lot of people that are really gifted or talented in things have this natural tendency to want to slack off or procrastinate or be lazy or find some excuse not to get to whatever task they want to do. And he does like the most, like saying, scientific plus like spiritual breakdown of actually what that is in the body, and how like different mechanisms and techniques you can do to come around that and actually be really productive and that kind of shit. Yeah, it's called The War of Art.
I have to check that out. I'm almost positive I've seen that in one of my suggested titles in the Audible there. Because every time you finish one, then it suggests, similar titles. You know, books compared to that I think would be close to would be The Five Circles, which is another ancient Chinese book. Or The Four Agreements would be another good one right along that lines. But I dig a lot of stuff like that. The good stuff. The Art of War I definitely have listened to.
Right.
Not The War of Art.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that one too a lot. So
Got it. I was looking through my book collection here too. I just listened to The Art of War the other day. And that's when I seen the other one suggested.
I follow one person that does a whole lot of stuff. His channel he originally made for like Federal Reserve kind of shit, like that kind of stuff, like what they were up to. And he has, before all this like hyped up cryptocurrency and what people are doing with on the stocks and that kind of stuff right now, he was already he was buying silver or pennies from the banks and stuff like that, and saving all the ones that are actually real copper, real silver, and all that. And he saved all the valuable ones that are like the rare ones, and then all the ones that are just good for whatever metals that they're worth, he turned into solid silver, solid copper. But lately he makes videos updating his library. And I've always been jealous of people that have what I would call, I don't know, enlightenment, or a negative way to say it would be conspiracy theories is what it unfortunately gets called. But people that have libraries associated with all those topics, and they have like 50 books, 100 books, 200 books. And I'm like, damn, dude, that's the exact same, along with all the literature on cannabis. Like I always to this guy, I always recommend, because once in a while he has other garden plants that he grows, and once in a while he has one or two cannabis plants growing. And I always tell him, like, hey, you got to get these, Robert Clark books and these Mel Frank books and stuff like that. Give him suggestions for cannabis books to add to his library. But yeah, I'm jealous of that. People that actually have a real physical library of really dope ass books that are really hard to get right now, or in the process of being book burned, or down the memory hole.
So many great books out there. It's a shame people don't turn there. My daughter recently went back to actually. I was trying to argue the Audible to her. I'm like, hey, COVID, you can get free Audible. I'm like, you can get into my account. She likes philosophy, psychology. I'm like, you can get on my Audible and listen to some of my shit, or get some books if you want. Listen to that shit. And she's like, no, I've been really headed down just the aspect of really physically reading it lately. I'm liking not listening, but actually doing the reading.
Mhm.
She's like, I take more from it. It's actually, I find it's more of a workout for my mind. I can take more from it because it's two different processes.
Mhm.
Like, you're smart, dude.
That's with me in writing is I can't use notes or something on my phone to keep track of stuff. I grew up writing things to remember on pen and paper, and that's just the way I got to do it. I can't rely on my phone to keep track of shit like that. If I want to write it down, it's got to be pen and paper. Maybe that's something that will eventually change.
Everything I've ever listened to of like fucking keys to success, keys to the rich, tips for the rich, anything like that. Every one of them say, keep a journal, writing shit down. There's something about the act of writing it down, like you're committing yourself, you're putting it into the ether. It's agreement between you and yourself. You're signing it out. Yeah.
You could have been saying there's no excuse that I shouldn't have done it, like you're saying, maybe even possibly my whole life. But where it really, and I'm 30 right now, and where it really started, that voice started coming into my head was around 27. So I've already not written down things that I think I should have starting at 27, So I really have to force myself to do it now because I am at that point, and a lot of it is really, I really think my brain has reached capacity. I always thought, this is like a never-ending box you can stuff things into, but I don't think that no more. I think at some point between, I don't know, teenage-ish years to 21-ish, and then up to like current time, but starting at around 27, that's when my brain was crammed full, and that's when I gotta, if I want to remember things that I think are important to me based upon like what I said in our interview, the spotlight thing, if I get a spark of creativity, I really get mad at myself for not writing it down at this point.
Yeah, I'm getting there. I'm trying more stuff down just because I forget a lot more shit. I'm losing a lot of good ideas.
Someone also said just hit voice record on your phone. I think that's another Joe Rogan tip. But then I always feel weird because there's that moment where I'm free flowing thinking in my head, but then I look to, for the app, and then I hit the button and I'm like, oh, what was I thinking about again? So writing it down is just,
for me, it was the verbal talking to myself. Actually, it's one thing to kind of to hear yourself, you know what I mean, that inner voice. Everybody has the inner voice, but to actually hear yourself verbally, good idea, I've got something today. I mean, I think I don't know, I can't get myself to do it. I think that's a little bit weirder way of keeping my notes. And another thing too is sometimes I think it's such a good idea or something so valuable I want to put down, I may not want to fucking scream it out into the ether for anybody and everybody to hear around me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It might, multiple reasons, I guess.
Yeah.
Some shit that I think of like that, I don't want heard until I've had a chance to develop further. You know what I mean? It's a good idea, but I don't want to necessarily spit it out until I've had a chance to twist it around in my head and perfect it a little bit.
A lot of times socially, if we're talking about specific grow topics, I'll feel that way. Like, as someone is explaining something, it's, you know, I'm picturing things in my head, you know, but then I necessarily don't want to fucking voice my, you know, the very first whatever impulse or whatever is the very first thing I think of, because how it's going to get received, you know. I'm not trying to be inflammatory.
No, you know, I do the same thing, Red Pill. I've got that weird kind of like ability where I can like pull things, see something, pull it apart, and kind of see how it might work. You know what I mean? But then if I don't say it out there like aloud and blow it out there, even though sometimes if it's wrong, it's just, again, it's perspective. I may have that blow up in my head, but you may be from over there seeing it from, you know, that one little angle I missed. And as I hear it, I might be like, oh yeah, there it is. It was hiding right behind that piece. You know what I mean? I got it now.
You know what I think trigger that for me is teachers trying to discipline me, like in middle school, and being a class clown, and someone said something in the right order of words in a phrase that imprinted into my head, right? And they weren't like yelling at me or telling me not to do something, but someone said something to me like, you got to think before you speak. And that instilled something to me to where, like, wait a second, it is good to be sharp and real fast on the draw with something, you know, as soon as someone says something. But you're right, I can think it out and then say something, and it's probably going to be better than whatever would fly out of my mouth at that very second. So that didn't necessarily stop me from being a class clown. That just made me sharpen up on what the fuck I thought about saying. You know what I mean? So
I see that as well. Well, brother, it is 10 after 5. I gotta call it, man. I have to call it.
Alrighty.
But appreciate you popping in. It's always good conversation, man.
Yeah, for sure. I'm glad I popped in. Like I said, I was missing the chat and I heard the shout out. So yesterday I was all ready to hop in, and then today I'm glad that you decided to do a wormhole despite not having a guest. So I was anxious to hop in.
Well, I appreciate you for because like I said, you know, I love this. I love this plan. I can talk cannabis almost every day, but sometimes I like to get off track. So
yeah,
thank you for taking us down the red pill type path tonight.
Yeah.
Bringing me back into the show.
Yeah, thank you for having me, and shout outs to everyone that was here tonight, and shout outs to everyone in the chat still watching, and I'll be back later. Thank you, Eagle.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Yep, you too.
All right, guys, it is time to get the shout outs done. Gotta find my list. I know I got it over here somewhere. Oh, I'll twist you guys all around. There you go. Here we go. Right over here. Oh, shit. All right, I got them. I got my joint, got my drink, got my shout outs in that order. Pop, 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 pop. There we go. Shout outs ready. Someday I will put them in some kind of rolling Star Wars thing there. But it's not that big of a wheel. I think it would be cool, but I still love doing this, man. I love shouting them out. It's a fun part of the night. And it's a personal thank you. Like I've said it before, you have to be verbal with your thank yous, your gratitude. Much like we were talking about writing things down, there's part of the process of verbally speaking your gratitude that helps keep the circle going. Well, it might sound crazy, but it's true. Who the fuck was that? That was a fucking Arthur song. You know it's crazy, but it's true. That's fucking funny. Song lyrics again. Ooh, I'm going right. I'll probably get in trouble for that one. Damn, Rolling Stones. Fucking love that Give Me Shelter song, man. It's fucking amazing. It's an amazing song. That girl from the original recording, that raspy background singer. Woo, so good. So good. I only got music in my headphones. You guys probably can't hear that shit. Turn it down. There we go. Now we got some tunes. All right, let's get it rolling. Get a quick drink of some, what am I drinking? Grape cranberry juice. Delicious. Yeah, it's been a few mornings for Teacher B. Good morning, Teacher B. If you haven't catch us, we've been missed, Teacher B. Here we go. Sub Cool Mamas. Sub Cool, we miss you, brother. D's House of Dank, Mama Law 710, Scarecrow 420, Green Thumb Bum, Christina MG 89, Unplugged 705, Monica McGullicuddy, Rick T. the Rebel, the 9207, Fabian Salinas, Dave's not here, Tom Spook, Great Walker to Mendo, Dope, T-Dog, Dung Beetle, Red Eye Jedi, Gross, Mother Nature, Justin Conway, Duckweed, Run Boy 7426, Justin Gutter, Strongman, Okie Grower 75, Corey Trevor, Michael Wallace, Small Vision 420, Who's Your Cat Daddy, Taco Don, Slug, Rick S, In the Bushes 827, James Siemens, Kevin Hahn, World's Last Hope, Pats Fan 420, Bio Mincer, Dirt Road Dude, Kenneth Shiva, Jose Ramirez, Red Eye Rustler, Dab Goblin, Dr. Buzz Lightyear, Acetone 710, Canuck, Canna Queen, Genetics, Stabby, Tanaze, Fumdor, Dirtman, Dan, Keith, and Black Sales, Mr. Bocilla, Sun Prune Gardens, Rasta Bob, Rasta Jeff. Amazing group right there. Thursday at 9. Check them out. So, Rude Small Tubes, Tyler, Frosty Buds, North Michigan Micro, Ouija Buds, Dub T Roy, Big Jar Grows, Modern Genetics, SoCal Weedner, John Last, PPJ15, Green County Grower, CJ Apple, Perfectly Imperfected, Dollar Tree Grower, T1 Productions, Date Grower, DOA Grown Meds, Mission Brother, Miss Nudie Grows, I Grew Some, Johnny Candy Suits. Hopefully you get I Grew Some drawings. Pretty badass, wasn't it? Johnny Cannon Seed, Nutrients, Shootouts, Naughty Nicky, Zoe and Slammer, and NY, Pixel Monkey, St. Bernard's, Observation Booth, Clover 420, High Spy, Aldridge 25, Madam T, Stu Moon, Mo Grower, Canna Crate, Loki Grows, Sus, This Guy, Burton 79, Polish Hammer, Midwest Outlaws 31, Voodoo Ultras, Fresno Nerds, Cali Connection, Wolverine Grower, Big Jar Grows, Jimmy One for Life, Laid Way Back, D-Block, MMP Nations Creations, Amber Lana, Psychedelic, Warlock, Artist LT, Sir Sticky, Rob, Big Dave 420, Brent Window, Big Ed 1961, Manawani, G3, The Green Click, J&K, Triple T, Mr. Sprinkler, Brittany and Tyler Teasley, Hope Farms, Lisa G, B, Too Crazy For You, BG, WG 420, Dr. Buds Will, Purple Thumb OG, Anthro, Sons Amelia, Arthro, Just Face 420, Beach Coast Grower 420, Sir Howe, Trey Valone, Keep It Real, Hackerton 420, Zeb Zeppelin, Audit, Everywhere, BT, Double D, Grows, Bingus, Green Puffin Man, Alex Boykachev, School of Crop, Cause I Love It, Green Mountain Grower, Southwest Okie, Real, 100, 212, Andy Man, Miranda Family Farms, Page Farms, Me, Flower, Ryan Henderson, Green 13, New Shebot Wins, Kingdom Aquaponics, Indra, Michigan Native, Mary Jane's Red Gardens, Dreamer 77 Double D, Bad Bunny Nutrients, Mr. Green Pots, Mr. Green Nugs from 619 to 664, Spaniard Kruger Jones, the Grow, Pop G Grows, Raz, the Dro Grows, Cass, the Grow From Your Heart podcast, from Ross and Bob Mills, Ivory Genetics, Lily Luna, the Green Men Flock, Jeremiah Miranda, Stony Creek, Lost Art, Mr. No One, LG 420, Giant Mike, Prometheus Oil, Jason Ison, P. Wynn, David Colby, Mason 662, Scroggy McScroggerton the fourth, The Goddess Grows, Kaylee, Chad and Brad Family Farms, Paulie P. VR, Eric Ferguson, Kevin Jodry, Mike Honcho, Jay Huggins, UDA, Green Tree Huggins, Kush Cloud, Joshua Seeds, and Oak Home Buds, or Warren Nelson, Cam Wood, Maine Mystic, Show Love Always, Kelly Stone, Texas, OG, Chuck Norris, Sarge, Claire Fresno, Happy Guy, Dan the Indoor Man, Gromies, Omies, Hamilton Gross, Clip Smoke, Keystone, Canada Flag, PA, Big High 710, Eugene Greenleaf, Ace Drew Hustle, Fred Dar Carlos, North Arizona, Beer Grow 420, No Sellout, Jesse White, Gastain Yeti, Introvert Genetics, So J, Vixen Robin, Killer 8 Mo, James Buttercream, C-Dub from NorCal, the Pharmacy Seed Bank, Dreadhead, Smokey 616, Curtis Mahan, Matt Myron, Morte, the Rick Hayman, Stephanie Dorr, Antenna Seeds, Fabcarious K, Mike Rubles, the Drew Bear 420, Maxi 751, Lawrence Gonzalez, Slow to Get Up, Stu Moose, Papa Coast 719, Baker Shake, baby, Old Smoke, PWC, Grown Buds, Laura Walsh, Miss Weed Blunt, Old School Grower, Chad Westport, Honcho Grown, Flora Nugs, My Little Piece of Heaven, Pungent Sound Seeds, Goliath Grower, Richard T, Chrissy Wannabe, Mr. Soul Food Spectrum, Gone God, Lori Hanson, Real, 2,000 Years of Tradition, Mr. D. Connolly, Pimp Jam, Big Bodie Face, Fuck Google Andrew, I'm Going Well, Canadian Restore, Poor Dirt Farmer, Carl Wright, Zeffner, Humble Farms, Tannery Farm, Seldom Seen, Oak Park Gardens, Hal 9782, Skunky Palace, Martial Artist 2012, Micro Slave Hefner, Danny McDizzle, Medically Fit, KGB, Roderick, Mr. Green Figures, Motherfucking Thomas, Rancher Culture Plenty, Andrew Chamberlain, Bobby Lynn Meats, Trench Digger, Mr. Mac, Tony Lake Baloney, Bill S, Weed Peas, Tater Delicious, Minty, Country Roots, Huron, Fire Genetics, Earth Creeper, Big Ray 420, Teeny Winnie 101, Teeny 101, no weenie on there. I always put the weenie on there. Sorry, Teeny 101. Buds and Hazards, Mr. Club 14, Beater to B-Man 616, Snarl Up, Max Scroom, and Ruby, Timothy McKinnon's Neo, Justin Beans, Chronic 88, Fat Belly, Real, Jennifer Steele, Kinbeth 03, Turf Farmer, Shannon Stevens, Carlitos, Latina, Skaty Country, Mr. Speed, Wolfstein, Firesaw, Wally, Wookie, The Goddess Grows, Ross and Bob, White Feather Grow, Burning Shrooms, The Tone Grows, Date, K-Man Grows, BX Gunner 81, Smith Dude Noob Grows, Sean McCann, Jay Monks, Dake, Agenda, Wawa, Canna Grow, Balldog, Huron, Cannabis Council, Alyssa Parrish, Rock Fam, Justice Mink, 420, Bin, Fresh Grove, Thriving Herbs, High Spy, Your Mailman Grows, We Be Growing, Australian Grown, Love for the Plant, Argo, American Spot Poker, Unfrozen Caveman, Hawaii's Highest, Surfcraft, Micro Goon, Jeff Lowenfels, Mobius Grows, Date, Brownie, Dan D, Elliot Harkins, Mystic Flavor, The Foraging Gardener, Overwater, Overkill, Seattle, Steve, Shadow Warrior, Valley Green 514, Amelia Jensen, Oz Indica, Dr. MJ Coco, Brandon Russ, Matthew Gates, Tease Bag, Drone Star, Shotgun Willie, Dank, Yoda, Jay Simmons, Sure Bro, Gross, Clackamas, Coop, DJ Conley, Aaron the Grower, like 1978, Michigan Grown Buds, Your Boy, Roy Boy, Delta 9, Mobius, Jay McDaniels, Clackamas 420, Seeky Colas, Dylan Cypher, PFC Farms, Husky Garden, Sun Grown 707, J.A. Dro, J420, Cascadian Growth, Sea Toads McGee, 4 Plants A, Weedworks, Captain Scrog, Skunk E Buds, Hans Warrior, Jackie Young, Terry Lee Live, McGasser Tempe, Annie N, D Urge, Green Jr., Leon from All Purpose Plus, Green Goose, 11 Smiles 11, Bindu Buds, Michael Rasa Plenty, 311 Missa, Kinder Grows, Evergreen, G's Friends, Tree, MMJ, Matt S, Tree, Save Ball, Tree, Dragonfly, B, Justin Brand, Travis Wells, Lucky Mike, Seattle Chronic Seeds, King Chronic, Titan from Blessed Coast Seeds, Shango, Gas, Wabasco for Life, John Smith, Tommy Trichone, Smoke King, Raz, Pop Little, Slow Roll, Spiky Pilots, Oscar Green Jr. 11, or Matt Steelbird, Endo 11, Stephanie V, Shark Pulley 989, Von Braun, Sovereign Garden, Sonar Nation 420, Joe Y, Bugs 1313 Grower, Painted Lady, Frank Booth, Jay Myers, Jamid, D Chat, Mr. Manny D, Bag Seed, Dr. GC, Jeff, Shredder 911, Dutch Gross 420, Scallywag 420, Skillbow 1, Medgrower 1, Empire Breeding Co., Fugroli, Lost Leaf, Liam Mass, Danny Danko, B-Bear 7, Allie Noble, CK, Tom Trinidad, Looney Jester, Smoking with Small Town, Tim S., Mr. Lazy, Rafter Grows, Rob, Automation is Freedom, Robert Hazelton, Drawer, Michigan Corey, Double Tap, Mr. Green Thumb, 420, 808, Rooting Prospects, Candy Bus Driver, Hating Life, Kenny 710, Operation Grow, T-Dog, DM 42696, Rude Nut 619, Hammered Emails, Dr. Scrambles, VB Moonrocks, GHF, Double J's, Bio Green, Self Grower, Hanky Stanky PF, or KP, Ganja Nana, Your Mama, Georgia Joe, Roy Rodriguez, Buddy Growing, Nature's Best Nugs, Killer Bee Grows, Ganja Wizard, Husky Gardens, Nut Tree 420, Dr. Ooh, Sword Life 420, Bully 4 Life 420, The Jeffro 420, Beavis 698, Dr. Franklin Booty, Goddamn, I'm Big Ted's Test, The Riffin' Fat Boy, Jack Greenstock 420, 420, Boom Farms, Aldridge 25, Smiley's Gardens, J. Deeds, Miss D's Nugs, Smoke and Grow Fraser, Grokoski, Twisted Roots, Faded Farm 420, Jeff Dorowski, Genetic Memory Farms, Vault 420, Cameron, Mr. Bagseed, Jill Cardi, Mystic Marks, Mystic Flavor, TWE, Gross A, Rick, Ginger Snaps, DT, Rick Wolf, DLP 2372, Ned Denver, Mike Denver, Sergeant Pepper 420, Ken Trooper, Blind Cat 420, Light Up Again Tim, UKSIF 420, Buddha Boy, Devin Shipwreck, Medical MJ, Budsville, USA, Resurrection Prophet, Chris Martinez, Dankman 420, Dankman Dan, Red Seven Farms, Good Life, Joni Bell, Cheats B, Most Hated Grower, the Major General 420 Army, the American One, W Digger 714, Sharates, Kineos, Genetics, Mountain Skies, Ready Hit the Hot Fire, Chris Mertz, Ian, Save Robbie, Sergeant Live, Hepa Cam, Finger Lakes Finest, Rich Patch, Dozer Man, Southern VT Grower, Choose Medical, Jared Bear, Plus One Mushroom, Secret City Pioneers, My Little Piece of Heaven, My Little Tent, 2042 Spacewalker, Christian, Tree Mump, T. Barrington, Heart and Soul Homegrown, Mike B, T. Dwayne, East Coast Will, Heidi Day, Galactic Gardens, John Smith, Elliptis, Natural Farms, My Natural Farms, Pacific Northwest Seeds, Rice, Kaya Paul, Lemon Hoko, Trench Digger, Rita's Juicy Life, 420 Grant Manual, Mary Bond, Sammy Sizzle, 98 Colas, Chris Mo, DK Trades, Vision Creator, Kind Brew, Cannon Nation J, Broski 808, Weekend at Bernie's, K-Bag, Justin Station, Strong Style, Zippy, Imatic 31, Honesty, K-Pill, Brett Bald, Todd Kendricks, Newton K&T, Chris D, True Serum, 4 times 4, Natty Dread, Barbara Matthews, Ancient Soul, Grown, Kevin, Jiu-Jitsu, Canna Health and Happiness, Berserk 215, Collab, Low Cut, Albert, Trembly, Mo, Manic Med, Brez, Banshee, Helen, Huge Anus, James T, Atomic Spoon, Miss Jill, Big Daddy, LT Gardens, High Flyer 420, Lobster Brush Bro, Big Mother Tree, Maine. Oh, good stuff. Red Pill, Your Roy Boy, Ecstatic, Shannon Gibbons, Ruhan, Rick W, Comfortably Numb, One Smoke Away, the 840 Grow Show, Richard Lamb, Red Pill again, Cannabis Pursuit, K Rolling, Co Rolling, Worthy, Buzz, Logan Man 81, Oil and Flower Podcast, Buddha Blake, what's up? The Entourage Effect, Warren Gardens, Pink Lady Luck, El Mondo 420, Surrounded by Keith, Friday Farms, Fringe Dwellers, Significant or Single Fathers, Happiness Without Guilt, Wob Wobby, Sean Binns, Rescue Ready, Roadside, The Notorious Nug, Madness Seeds, Father and Son, Trimming, Toil, Sub T Dank, Jose Ramirez, Doggo the Hut, 420M, Fuck, Chibo Man, GR420, Community Videos, March 10th over there for me. Check that out. Detroit, River Red, Goose Garcia, Michael P, AJ Everyday, Captive Audit, Cheddar Bob 13, Maine 420, Med Grower, Captive, Cookies, Coop, Jay Kendricks, In for the Grill, Backwoods All Good, Sally Mansell, Jay Hendricks, Chanel Simpson, One Smoke Away, Kazoo, Green, Aaron Burning Shrooms, Mr. Lincoln Stinking, Angel Studios, MMG, The 420 Grow Trend. Paul D. Ella, John Fleming, Jacobitz, Chemo F. Sky, Fiber Power, Paulie P. Seldom Seen, Elevated, Lenny Gannick, Miss Sunman, Chiba Sony, Jeff Popalik, Ricardo Sosa, Dan J. Earth Friendly Farming, Candy Forest Farming, fuck all that be. The Misfit Grower, Jason Line 512, Snake Eyes, Northern 4466, Jason Greystone, Stony Creek, Stony Creek, Russell Design, French Dweller, Tarzan, Superman, Old Man Hurash, Freebird, Mo Grower, Matty Gar, Simple Man, Survival Time, Tim Blank, Golf Crows, Chronic, Stinkfest, Chemo Sky. Oh, got you already. Caballero, Harley Garden, Jen God, Jason 512, Seattle Steve, or Steve Collins, third time's right. Todd Kendricks, Pop Radio, Maintenance, Sharpie, The Island, Hayes, Scuba Steve Speaks, J.R. Ream, Farming, damn it, Randy K, TCDR, much respect to you. Claire Fresno, Wardrobe Farming, Randy, Grandy, Piff 1000, Nature Boy, Glacier Bold, 3223, Pupper Smiles, 15 digits, Michigan, Ganja Moot, Hash, Fred G, Super Bob, Richard Forbes, Dan Pimento, B4, P Funk, Nick T, John Reach, What About Bob, Prince Patty, Daniel Bergman, Green Puffin Man, B, Bundy, James, Chunks, Sure Grows, 818, John Wayne, Cannabis Counseling, Roots, Sister Golden Hair, Deanna, El Dancarino, K and F Gardens, Blanket 1030, or that's blank 1030. Choose one. Only Feet, Farmer Jones, Crypto Joe, James, Lamb again, Hydro, or Hip Grow, Matt Javine, Dan Marito, Chronic Wonder, Surprise Grow, Top Floor Genetics, Mole Vision 420, Camwood, Cam 2 Cannabis, Just Fisher, My Dog Naya, Roosted Law, Betty Cropper, Daniel Grows, Photos, Mitten Gromies, Sunrise Grows, Lexi, My Baby Girls, No Limits 916, and last but never least, Weedus 207. Thank you guys tuning in for another episode of the Wormhole 337.5. Look forward to seeing you tonight, where my guest will be. Who will be my guest tonight? Well, might help me get up right more. Thought of. Can of meat? I have to look that one up. Catch me tonight at 11:30. You guys know the routine. Please do something nice for someone. It's gonna random acts of kindness do change lives. It's changed mine in so many ways and continues to do so day after day. You guys have an amazing day. I look forward to seeing you tonight. Have a good one. I am out of here. Love you guys.